intro music this time.
You sounded so
It
confident.
is working.
We out here, boy.
Ah, it's a good day. All the boys are back together. We got the whatever the word for four triumvirates is together.
The quadumvirate?
Quadumvirate? I don't know.
It's
my
called a
Latin's pretty
rectangle,
shaky.
son.
Was that a
The
fat joke?
rectangle of
Are you-
love, dude.
Am I one of the big sides?
No, you're a circle.
The big sides.
No, that's trapezoid, right?
You're an oval, my man.
Jamie's a trapezoid. We saw those legs 20 seconds ago.
You know what?
Oh, man,
F
you're
you,
gonna
I
air
can
him out
bench
like
you.
that?
Damn.
I hit 400 on
That's
for
impressive.
you, dude.
It's
Hold
quite
on,
No,
you squat
I freaking
400
know it's
pounds?
impressive. Yeah.
Those
F
legs
you.
do not squat 400
Come-
pounds.
let's go. Come to the gym.
Bullshit.
Let's
Come-
go.
I'm gonna take a video
Come to
next
the
time,
gym.
dude. Come to the gym, dude. Let's go.
I would,
Come on.
it would ruin every
impressive.
bit of emasculating I've tried to
Yeah,
do.
because
to
you're
you over the
soft.
years for me to show up to the gym with you. Yeah, I would look so soft immediately.
400. That's impressive. I
The
could
whole
not.
time Logan would
I'd
just be
break
trashing
myself.
my height. I'd be like, get under the squat rack, dude. Let's
That's true.
settle
That
this
is
debate.
typically whenever I've been met with a challenge in my life that I wasn't capable of overcoming, I've just reverted to trashing everybody around me and calling it gay. It's stupid
Ah,
to want to be
yes.
good at the thing, obviously.
Who wants
I
to
would-
be able
I
to
would
lift
never-
weights?
My ego is not large enough to lie to you guys about how much I can lift. So I promise
That's actually
you.
fair. I believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
He's so arrogant.
I'm
he's
working
not
on my
gonna live again.
bench. I'm working on my bench press. I've never hit 3 plates in my life, which is really sad for me to admit. I really do. It's but I'm
It helps
close.
if you
I'm
put them on
like
different
right there.
sides.
Sad. I've
Yeah.
never made it to the top 0.3% of people weightlifting. It's just so sad. It's a
I'm
tragedy.
like right at 300. So 3 plates is 315. I'm right at 300, dude, and it irks me every time. But I also feel like I'm gonna kill myself because I don't go to the gym with anybody, and so like I'm also
Yeah, for
too
real.
like. Like it's one of those things where it's like too much of trouble to ask somebody to spot me most of the time, and so
Yeah.
like I'm there and I'm like, I
Hey,
don't
can
know.
you 5 ladies come over here for a second?
yeah, seriously.
I'm working till failure. Yeah,
Sure.
you come over here.
Have y'all seen the Eddie Hall deadlift where he blacks out and shoots blood out his nose?
No,
No,
I'm not
dude.
shocked.
I'm shocked
see
that
that.
Jamie didn't jump on that. I thought you watched that every morning at 4 a.m. when you got up to go lift.
No, I just snort cocaine.
That'll get you
Much
going too.
safer.
Just black eyes right out the
Bad
door.
for your heart, though. That's how you get enlarged heart.
Not as bad as those Red Bulls, son.
That's
Those Red Bulls
probably
I
true.
shotgun, dude, every day, dude. It's
What a
that'll
weird
kill me.
world that we live in. That actually might be a true statement. It's like, do you drink Red Bull? Try cocaine. It's actually better for you in the long run.
Yeah,
RFK Jr. is bringing cocaine back to Coca-Cola.
you'll run out of cocaine faster than you run out of Red Bull. That's the biggest problem with Red Bull. If Red Bull was expensive, it wouldn't be so bad for you.
Ain't that the truth?
Where's all my
Hey.
Coke?
That the truth.
I got a
Well,
whole fridge full of Red Bull. All my Coke's gone.
That's why you can't do.
I'm
That's why you
shocked.
don't let Negroes into your house. They do all your drugs. It's just how it is. Always has been. Always will be.
I was
Just like
gonna
that
try to
picture
find
you
a good video of it. I couldn't find it, but it's he talks about like talking to a psychiatrist to figure out how to unlock that thing where you get all of your muscle fiber, like the mother lifting the car off her kids. So he had to create a scenario in his head where his kids were under that bar, and you see his eyes are just rolled back in his head, having a seizure as he deadlifts 900,000 pounds, and his blood just comes out his nose. But
I'll
it's
be-
an impressive feat of human strength.
I don't
That
mess
rate,
with the
though,
deadlift, dude. I'll do it with the trap bar, which is like the octagon bar that you step into. I don't mess with the traditional deadlift. It's too much of an ego lift, and like I would feel like I'm not willing to like destroy every single muscle in my lower back.
I guess we
I
know
have
which,
some ligaments that I
we
like.
know which
you know?
lift Jamie isn't good at now. Like,
Yeah, lifting this damn
off
podcast.
over there.
I had to stop doing that.
Oh,
Well,
all right,
speaking
fellas.
of which, boys, though, we are kind of burying the lead. Like today was Gen Alpha's 9/11. These last couple of days has definitely been the day that they're going to remember forever, and it will always impact their politics. And here we are joking about Jamie's chicken legs. You know, Epstein
That's it.
apparently is completely innocent. Was really just trafficking
Done.
the whole thing for himself. You know,
Dude,
Yeah, I was going to say, is that are we starting with an apology today for all of the inflammatory things that we've said over the last couple of years?
actually, yeah, we probably should
Now
apologize.
that we know that since the good guys finally won the election and let us know that actually all years of cover up and worry about
Yeah.
election interference to keep them out and all the shit.
There aren't a bunch of pedophiles in power.
Turns
We
out
were
it's not.
wrong. Completely
Dude,
wrong.
and what a relief too. Honestly, like I don't know how you guys felt. I know a bunch of people have been upset. It's shaken. I don't know, shaking a lot of people who voted for the right to the core. There's a bunch of uproar, but I, for one, slept so much better last night knowing that the government actually isn't like infiltrated by a bunch of pedophiles and that children aren't being trafficked and there's not this massive cover up and an exploitation ring to blackmail the world's most powerful people. I slept so much better last night because of the revelation. So I hope that everybody finds the peace that I have found.
Honestly,
And
you're right.
the
are you
refocus
talking
too.
about?
I mean, we can now start focusing on what really matters, like I guess trans bathrooms. We hadn't talked about that in a while, right?
Yeah,
Really.
We can all go back to buying Microsoft products again now that we know Bill Gates is not a pedophile. He's not at all involved in the island. I'm
Oh,
as
good.
a
I
show
really miss my
solidarity,
Windows Explorer.
I'm going to let my laptop upgrade to Windows 11. I've been telling it no, just out of principle, but now that I'm not supporting pedophiles, I'm going to let it happen.
You know what?
It's
I think we
time.
should all go back to Windows Vista in support of Bill Gates.
We're bringing it back. Let's bring it back.
Back to the roots.
Yeah.
We don't deserve
I'm
with
willing-
everything we've said about him over
Yeah.
the last 10 years.
Right.
We don't deserve these
Windows
updated
18.
products, you know.
You're right. We should be using Linux out of penance. You know?
So that's actually where I wanted to start today with this, because this was for a lot of people the final straw. The Iran 12-day war was a little shaky one for a lot
With
people.
a compute
What's
success.
is it 12 days? It's an amazing war. It's a wonderful time.
Some days people say it's the shortest war.
I know Jamie had even kind of reached out to me in the group text and kind of given me a little bit of credence on it. But what is y'all's temperature with old Zion Don these days? How's he doing?
Zion
Zion
Dawn.
Dawn.
Nice.
Zion Dion. It sounds like a designer handbag company. New
Ooh,
from
I bet we
Zion
could make a
Dawn.
luxury brand Zion Dawn.
You
Cheaper,
thought
and
Trump
you
shoes
could
were
make a
cool. Wait
note
until you see
and plug that
Zion
into
Dawn
your
handbags.
hacked Chat GPT to get us like ironic
The
Zion
motto.
Dawn stuff.
It's like
I
a
think it
golden.
would do that even on regular Chat GPT, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
It's like a golden handbag, but it has a smaller, tiny little handbag right on top of it that comes with it.
And really big handle that sticks out really far for some reason.
So I guess I have to ask you all the question here, just and like a serious question. Do you think it's actually possible that we are all wrong and we're caught up in this hysteria of the moment and we're bought into, media narratives and like maybe it was just Epstein? Do you think that's
Dude,
all possible?
I send you guys links about lizard people. Of course, I'm not buying this one.
Wait, you guys?
No, but in
don't
all
believe in lizard
seriousness,
people?
and also it made me feel better about poo-pooing the release of the JFK stuff. Honestly, anybody that was like,
Whatever
"Well,
come
you
out.
guys obvious for
Yeah.
conspiracy theorists," now I'm like, "All right, you want to do the same thing with the Epstein files here?" Because we've had
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's been from Bondi saying the files are on her desk to the leak of the files supposedly online to the. I mean, it was one of the main campaign promises of this whole run was we're going to get to the bottom of this finally because it's those Democrats over there that are on those files, and not your buddy
Oh.
Don.
I forgot too. They sealed the documents from his Florida case back in the 2000s as well. There was definitely a list of people in that one that was.
We can't just assume all of this is related. That's crazy. They have to compartmentalize just because him and Epstein had a little bit of a legal fiasco back in the day. We don't need to
not
revisit
connected,
those things.
I gotta read this tweet that I saw. I had seen this, Logan, and you sent it in the chat, our group chat, and I still think it's the best tweet that anyone has made on the scenario. It's from the old man, and it says, "I can't believe Epstein killed himself right before he's about to be acquitted due to complete lack of evidence." Like that is a phenomenal tweet, dude. Like it's so true. Like Well, I mean, like to Kiefer's point, man, like that was one of the big things that Trump and his MAGA base like campaign on was releasing the Epstein files. Like I remember when he got elected, and I'm pretty sure the Epstein files were trending on Twitter again because it was like we were. I mean, I was bought, and I was like, okay, I was bought into thinking that he learned his lesson.
I think the term we were using during the campaign was day one.
Yes, that's it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was the JFK files. It was, I mean, there were so many different things, man. And for me, and you have Kash Patel, who went on Rogan before talking about his skepticism of the Epstein, quote unquote, suicide. You have Pam Bondi, who's the AG, that said they had hundreds of hours and hours of video of perpetrators with children, right? That primed and ready for the damn wood chipper. And all of a sudden now, no, it's the same thing with Tulsi Gabbard saying there's no proof of them having nuclear weapons. 2 months after she says that, well, actually I was wrong. They had they had a whole plethora of nuclear weapons that I just missed. Like it's just like it's a slap in the face to people that were willing to give him a second chance or a third chance for some people, I guess. I don't even think dropped the ball. Like he just lied. They just lied straight to everybody's faces, which we should have known all along. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, especially me.
Maybe one alternative explanation. I saw the Kash Patel really professing on, I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast, but it could have been another show, and it was just a still frame of his face with his eyes bugged out, saying that there was nothing in these files. And it's like the face you make saying Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide when you don't want to commit suicide yourself. So there could be a little bit of that.
Looks
maybe
like that though. Like Kash Patel always
that's fair.
He always looks like that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm telling you, Joe. If I knew, I would tell you.
I'd let you know.
I'd let you know, Joe. There's a guy with a gun to his head,
right off stage.
Studio. I tell you, Joe. I would let you know. Yeah,
that was another one. Patel himself was saying that the absolutely you would have this stuff out and to do the complete
right
180 on it.
Who's it under control of? The FBI director. Now that he's the FBI director, and Dan Bongino, that fucking schmuck who made a brand off. It's like what bugs me the most is all these people have made millions of dollars on creating this crusade about something that now that they're in a position to actually do something about it, well, actually, we can't do this. There's nothing to see here. It really, this is, I don't know. My take is that there's no salvaging it. It's time for guillotines. It's time for guillotines and violence because there's literally no way out. There's only one way that this ends. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen tomorrow, but we have crossed, this to me is a Rubicon of trust in the government. Like it started in Vietnam, where this crisis of confidence in your government, before then Americans generally believed that their country and their government wanted good for them. But Vietnam happens and all the scandals and JFK, and this is the final straw. I think that this will wake a lot of people up to say the system cannot be salvaged. Logan's probably right that Donald Trump has been control opposition this whole damn time, and I hate to admit it, but I have to give you credit for that because you've been spewing it for years, and I've resisted it because I wanted to believe better. And here we are. Right. We're to the point of no return. This is Rubicon, and we don't come back from this.
I felt really strong on that take as soon as Jimmy Dore started saying it on his show about 6 months ago. I was like, I nailed that one.
So you were right, whatever, but you were wrong about Michelle Obama, so shut up and take your lickings, okay?
She's going to be the next Democratic candidate.
You weren't even close, bro. Don't even try to claim some sort of... No, do not claim any sort of moral victory. Shut the hell up.
If Jamie would have shared all those Michael Obama memes online, she would have had a shot.
Oh, you're right.
Hey, you leave me and my Twitter bots alone.
Derailed.
I'm just flooding Twitter with Michelle Obama memes.
Big Mike.
What are we looking at, Kiefer?
Oh, it's just JD Vance in 2021 asking the question, what possible reason could the U.S. government have for not releasing Epstein's client data? And then he has a follow-up tweet, and I'll pull it up so I can actually read it here. If you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm sure there's a middle-class teenager somewhere who could use some harassing right now, but maybe try to do your job once instead. And for him
What did
to
he say
now
today?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I trust our
but, like,
FBI
all
director.
all of these people lose a lot of credibility forever if they don't address this in like a very honest and direct way of like, this is what I said before. This is why my opinion is changing. Otherwise, like, you can't just brush by this. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I cared about that a lot, but that was
Which
last
is
year.
nutty.
What's
Okay,
going
I
on?
want to
They're
ask
trying
a
to
question
do
real
does seem to
fast.
be the brush by.
Do you
Like, that seems to be
guys
all
think
the
they
momentum.
genuinely? Do you guys genuinely believe they think we believe this? Like, do you think they're just that out of touch, or are you guys on the plan of like they don't even care if we believe it or not? They're just
It's
going to
the
roll with
second
it
one.
because okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
I think it's the second
I
one.
think it's even
it's-
less. I think it's less. We don't care what they think. It's more like floating it out there to see what happens.
Or do you think it's
It's like,
do you think it's a,
let's
they
just
know
say they
we
didn't
can't
exist.
do anything about it, and so they're like, "What are you going to do?" That's where I land. Is like I think I said this years ago, actually, with y'all. I don't know if it's the LU days or on Against the Mob. I remember saying something to the effect of like they've gotten to the point where they just don't care that we know. They don't
Right.
care anymore because they're just more like, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?"
So
I do disagree a little bit. I think that there is a level of care because there is a critical mass at some point where the guillotines actually do come out potentially, and they don't want to get to that future. I think there's a lot of floating it out, and I was going to say that earlier. It's almost like the same reason I feel more and more strongly in my governmental conspiracy theories is the same reason I feel less confident in Bigfoot over time. As technology has increased, we've seen less and less Bigfoot sightings. We're not really seeing a whole lot of great Bigfoot video. But as technology increases, we're seeing lots of extra
I'm looking at 'em
political
right now.
corruption and screw ups.
I actually,
you get the
sorry,
point that
keep going.
it's increasing over
Sasquatch.
time as we're getting interconnectivity and instant
Yeah.
communication with the civil level. We're starting to notice this at a more rapid pace, but they're still going with the old playbook a lot, where it's like, we'll just tell them on the news, and then they lose an election, and they're like, well, they're kind of on the podcast now. Maybe we need to start buying some podcasts. They're just a step behind the new technology releases and the internet and what it's got going on, but they are trying to see if it'll work. Hey, there actually are no files, and they're going to give us a week. And if we freak out and start rioting in the streets, then maybe we'll get an explanation. It won't be a good explanation. We'll go back to redacting the hell out of files.
Logan, can I ask you a follow-up question? Because they did the whole charade when they brought in like the big-time conservative influencers like DC Drano, who's a total schmuck, right? And
don't you discredit Tim Pool like that.
And Tim Pool, dude, right? They brought in, yeah.
No, those were some heavy hitters out there,
What a
Jamie.
national treasure,
Look
dude,
up the
that we had.
pamphlets.
It's the new founding fathers. So they did
It's
this
your
whole
right to
show. They brought. That's too funny, dude. They brought these guys out and did the whole rollout, and I mean, anybody knew looking at those little. There's that picture of them holding it up, and they're all smiling, and you can tell it's like a Manila envelope level of documents that we had already seen, and it was heavily redacted, and they were acting like this is all the like. Why would they go about that whole charade and show just to do this months later? I haven't frankly, I have a lot of things going on in my life that I just don't spend a lot of time thinking about these things, but it's been such a snowball lately of things, one thing after another, that I've started to pay more attention because it's hard not to, being me. And
potentially a hot nuclear world war and covering up a child pedophile ring made you put your head up above the ring.
Was that enough to pull you away from
What's
your
going
family
on?
and business for a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm like,
Maybe I should start looking at politics again. This is
yeah, exactly. It's like I literally was like talking to my wife. I'm like, they make this shit so hard to ignore. Like I want to ignore, I want to,
Right.
but they're like, here's a little bit more. Here's a little bit here. You want a nuclear war? You gonna pay attention now? And I'm like, I guess so, because I don't want to freaking die. So I guess there's that.
I am a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
Well,
you
I
got
mean,
me.
for
I don't
one-
want to get vaporized.
What a fucking baby.
I know, right? And you call yourself a patriot. You don't want to
Yeah,
die
I'll
in a
play
nuclear
fantasy
war
football
for
in
our,
the nuclear rain.
our
It's fine.
Zion overlords. Wow.
You
It's
just
called a pat
keep
riot,
lifting your
first of
weights,
all.
you tough man.
I cry when I lift my weights just to get through the day. I hate the government.
I would at least the first part of the answer to your question would have to be that's campaign season. I was talking to my wife about this today, actually, of like
Even after, but that was after he
Bush
was elected.
family.
Like, that happened right after he was elected, though. Like that was like a couple weeks into his.
Was that? I thought that was right before.
No.
That was in January.
He was
That
in the
was
White House
January.
when that happened.
It was
Okay,
definitely
Pam
well,
Bondi
that's
was
interesting.
AG, and they questioned her about it.
But
Yeah,
I do
well,
want to
that's
answer your
curious.
question as well, Jamie, because I actually disagree with both possibilities. I think they actually ended up in some situation where they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they're just trying to move too fast, and maybe they found some sort of information. They're like, we can't tell anyone, and they don't even have the ability to explain it to us just because of the implications. And
They
I
didn't
think
know
they're
the
like,
full
this
scope
is
of it until they looked at it, is what you're saying. They actually started to dig into it and saw
yeah,
there's
yeah.
zero chance we can release this because of the implications of.
Because it would
All
unravel.
right,
society.
Cash, I'm gonna come clean. I went to
Well-
the island a couple times.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an answer as to like what the
Sure.
implications are because I have no
Sure.
idea. But
that
I-
makes
I-
it like they just don't. Yeah, they got the rabbit hole was a lot deeper than
I
what they
think
thought.
it's-
Is what you're saying.
I
Yeah,
think it's the
'cause-
exact same thing as the JFK files. It's, hey guys, it's crazy that you don't know this. When I get in there, I'm going to tell you. And then when they get in there, they all have the same answer. Well, it would be really bad for the security of the United States and for the trust in our government. And what it really means is if you actually saw how many high-level people were manipulated by this, it would completely
I
dissolve our
agree with
government. I think is what it is.
I would
Yeah,
agree with that.
probably.
Yeah,
I think
that's where I
JFK files
land.
just never come out as well, just because it's once you see them, it's just some sort of infinite black hole of just myopathy where you're like, I can't show this to anybody. I can't even explain it. I got
That's
it.
actually-
Are city council members on there, Janet? So nice.
Wait, birds aren't real? They're just flying satellites?
Duh.
Once
Welcome to
again, dude,
2025,
behind the
idiot.
times, dude.
It makes
Idiot.
sense. In hindsight, flapping your arms to fly through the air doesn't make any fucking sense.
No way.
should've
That's
seen
why
that.
they land on power lines. They have to
Hollow
recharge.
bones.
You think that's bird feed you're feeding them? That's bird shot, brother.
Yes. You
Right.
can't trust something that has hollow bones. You know, doesn't sit right with me.
Right? Everyone just believed that? They tell you that in second grade because it's the only time you're dumb enough to believe that.
It's called marrow, you idiot.
Yeah. They used to be dinosaurs, kids.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, no, let's tell them their closest relative is a chicken.
But I do have to say though, even if this is the case and it's some sort of like rock and hard place thing, it's still just incredibly despicable that they couldn't at least level some sort of like, we looked inside the
lightly.
files and what we saw is going to tear the world apart. So I'm going to be the bad guy and I can't release it. A statement like that,
That's a much better world.
I could have maybe rocked with.
I
It's
know,
We let,
it's
a
just
lot,
big-
we let a lot of Nazis come into this country just so we could go to the fucking moon and find out
Yeah.
nothing of interest is up
for
there.
sure.
We can run this country with a couple pedophiles behind bars for 10 years until we replace them with other competent non-child molesters, you know?
There is,
Yeah,
I guess,
that makes sense.
there is something to Kiefer's point about this that is a better scenario to come out and just be like, look, we looked into it, and I understand that I can't. This is, I guess, if this is what I would want Donald Trump to come out and say. We looked into it. I know that I campaigned on this, but upon looking into it, it is the threat of releasing these files will actually unravel the world. I can deal with an upset electorate. I can deal with the consequences. We can move past this. But if we were to release this, like, the world actually falls apart because so many people are implemented in or implicated in such profound ways that the trust in the system will completely break apart. Because right now it's just the trust in kind of like the DC inside, but what's not under fire is all of the other institutions that kind of support the apparatus that is the government. And that is a much better, I could at least stomach that a little easier than this, because it reminds me of, there's a quote in what is it, the Gulag Archipelago, where he talks about, they know that we know that they know that we know that they know that we know that they are lying, but yet they continue to lie. And it makes me think that we are in a place similar in this country where I would be hard pressed to find anybody that actually is like, oh, well, case closed. They got, you know what I mean? Like the Hardy Boys are on the case, and they've wrapped it up in 57 pages of easy teen reading, you know? And there's nothing to see here. I would be hard pressed to find even the most like diehard mouth breathing red hat wearing person that would actually buy into that statement.
They're at least online. Maybe they're all bots, but I've seen the defense of Donald Trump even through this.
But that's the thing. It's like online is such a radically different world than in person, because I would be hard pressed to find somebody, and I'm sure that they exist, but I think overall, even the most diehard red hat wearing people, not the mouth breather, disparaging term I just used, but just like diehard red hats are like, oh, we don't know about this one, buddy. Like, we kind of expected you to do something about it. And I think that I think it's more of a signal. Just like, I don't think they actually care about what we think. I think that they have seen us pacified and unangry about way too many things, that they know that this, like, they don't fear the populace. They do not fear the peasants. They do not fear the general revolt, because they know that we're docile. They know that we're distracted. We know that we're lazy, we're weak, we're unmotivated, and as a country, we're wholly unprepared to do the business of revolution. And so I think at this point, they just don't give a shit. And they're going to continue to do whatever they want, because they know that regardless of what happens, people have to go to work. People are going to be worried about egg prices, their rent. People are going to be worried about all of these other things, and it's going to come and go, and not a damn thing's going to happen. So why would they worry about us? What are we going to do? Like, like the last, like the biggest protest like assembled in American history and recently is that No Kings thing. What did they do? A bunch of people said, we don't like, you know, it's like Orange Men bad, essentially.
They shot into a crowd of bystanders. It's probably the most interesting thing they did.
They did what?
They fired into a crowd of bystanders. Probably the most interesting thing that
Israel.
But I mean, like, you had, like, the last time that a bunch of Americans actually organized and gathered to do anything, they just marched and said Orange Man bad. They didn't, no demands. No, no
face paint and animal balloons. It was a good event.
That's what I'm saying. Like, congratulations. I'm so glad that all of you guys dropped. And my take on it is that it probably is part of what Kiefer has to say, but I think that they just know that we don't care and we're too unorganized. So what are we going to do? Yeah. The peasants aren't going to revolt. They can't revolt. They're fat. They're lazy. They're out of shape. Fuck them.
Yeah. And low-key, the economy is in shambles right now. Probably fairly soon, people are going to be more distracted with like the idea of a recession than whatever happened to Jeffrey Epstein and his pals.
Right.
So, you know, it's probably going to get memory hold fairly soon, except for a certain group of just militarized Gen Alpha kids who are just never going to let this go. Because, I mean, you had to sit through COVID with the whole Epstein didn't kill himself, just doing inside. They were stuck in like micro class online for high school or whatever. Nothing to do whatsoever. Couldn't go out, couldn't see their friends. All the Epstein documentaries are getting dropped. Now this happens when they're just barely adults. They're never going to forget.
Good.
Well, this in the era of documentary filmmaking, this is a prime opportunity, though, for somebody to get out in front and make the positive Jeffrey Epstein story of like how Jeffrey Epstein got drugged through the mud by this media. Because I've seen those. There's one that's been popping up on Netflix every time I watch something that's like, I don't even know the woman nor the mother, but she's making a documentary about her mother because her mother was this famous sex symbol in the 60s. And she was way more than that. So I want to show, and it's almost like, I don't know. It seems like your mom spent her life being a sex symbol. Like, do we need to dig her up and like make a new documentary about how, well, she was actually a very complex woman who had a lot going on, but I've never heard of this sex symbol from my grandfather's era. Like, just
I think
seems like her life work was completed.
Lifetime will probably pick that up. Jeffrey Epstein, the true story. You know,
going to paint
misunderstood philanthropist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, going to paint him as this benevolent person,
hobby daycarist.
That was just so hobby daycare. That's just so troubled by his brilliance.
Little did Jeffrey know that those little rugrats were going to turn on him someday.
Betrayed by his own clients.
Everything he'd done for them.
It is, yeah. I going back, man. To your point, Matt. That's kind of what I'm saying is when I say they don't care about what we think, it's to that point of like, what are we gonna do? Even
Nothing.
if there was a large enough, group of individuals that said, okay, we really got to figure this out, it would still be 0.0003% of the population that would be willing to do anything about it, right? And I feel that myself because look, man, I got family and wife and kids and a business and all, and it's just like I got to worry about me and mine. You
I
know what I'm
got way
saying?
too much
and
to risk.
and as much as I hate what's going on, and as much as I've spent my entire life focused on the political realm, like legitimately, I mean, since I was like a kid paying attention to this stuff, dude. Like my dad listening to Michael Savage talk radio when he picked me up from school, dude. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, way back in the day. As much as I've cared about this stuff, and as much as I'm so sick and tired of it, it's like I can't. There's nothing. It can do. I'm not willing to risk what I have. I could be completely frank with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. Because I have bigger responsibilities in taking care of my kids and my wife and my steward and those who are in my stewardship now. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fact of the matter.
Didn't know you'd take on a war.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's and then going back to it too. It's such a I purposely like white pilled myself with the whole Trump thing. I'm like, it can't get any worse than Kamala or Biden and everything that we've seen over the last 4 years. Trump is obviously not the guy that I want in there. But it's like I got into the basket of I think he's learned his lesson, and because of that, he can't be any worse than what Kamala would have been. And I was thinking about this today about, I see a bunch of comments of people trying to cope with this. And they say, well, no matter what, Kamala was always going to be worse. And look, I could not and cannot stand Kamala Harris. Cannot. Tim Walz is a freaking weirdo, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but I was thinking about today and I'm like, I honestly don't think it would have been any worse or any better. I think we would have gotten maybe not the exact same, like series of events, but the exact same consequences and endpoint that we're at right now, I don't think would have changed that much, which is a bummer, dude. Yeah, and that's probably it's that to the Flirt's point. It's like at that point I would have expected all of it, but now here, never. I mean, I remember telling Matt, if I could just get cheaper groceries and gas prices and not get drafted into World War III, I'd be happy. And I've got none of those things. I'm saying we're closer to World War III than we ever have been. I think we're actually in the beginning of World War III. We don't even know it. And gas isn't, and gas, I guess, has gone down a little bit, but groceries are not any cheaper than they were. Like, I mean, the things that the bare minimum of what I wanted has not been met. And all of my worst nightmares from a political stance have happened. Like, I don't know how to come to terms with that. And like, I should say this too. Like, one of the biggest reasons I got out of the political scene was my faith, because I felt like I was allowing politics and the black, white pill, red pill, whatever you want to call it, the libertarian echo chamber that I was living in was becoming my idol. I felt very drawn to leave this space to reconcile with my faith. And that has led me on a completely different journey. And so I should say this, even though I feel very, let down and betrayed, to use Flirt's language, at the same time, my hope is not of this world, and I'll just leave it at that.
Not feeling. You don't believe the Kali Yuga cycle? So you didn't get into the Vedic text in your religious cycle there.
Yeah, 127,000 more years, bro.
Yeah, the TED. Yeah,
yeah.
Did you guys watch the Sorry, I was going to ask if you guys watched the Ted Cruz Tucker thing, because that's another thing we didn't talk about, dude. That was
good.
Don't be so snarky.
I was going to say, I heard this idiom.
You don't know what Israel is?
It's one I've heard 100 times, but it hit me again. I was like, I can't believe I'm not just saying that every day. But that's the whole thing with politicians. They keep all of the bad promises, and they don't keep any of the good ones. That's kind of how it works. They can't, during campaigns, that's kind of just what the outcome is.
Yeah.
And even to that my old point of Donald Trump being controlled opposition potentially, what better way if you're trying to sell a war with Iran, which you weren't on that podcast, but we all aired that out a while back, and don't really, at least I don't personally think it was actually about nuclear weapons. So, and even if it was, we've already set the groundwork for the weapons of mass destruction leaving the tent. We're having all this different reporting on
you
if
don't
we
believe
even
that Iran had nuclear weapons.
I believe that Iran had a nuclear enrichment program. I don't think that they had nukes necessarily.
Oh, you mean the same enrichment program that they were allowed to by the JCPOA? You mean that program?
Dude, they've been 3 weeks away from a nuclear weapon since 1995.
92.
What are we doing?
We held it back for 30 years, Jamie. That's what was going on.
The dam was finally breaking.
We were there like Hodor the whole time. Hodor.
And we're all as fat and retarded as Americans too for going along with it.
That's always the
point.
Argument.
If you have Kamala Harris in, to go back to what you were saying earlier, of like, would it even be different? Maybe it would be, in that the most fervent anti-war faction we had, that you had to win over to go to war with Iran, which did a decent job of shitting on Trump and maybe helped this end in 12 days. But the people that you needed to convince were those people that were supporting Trump. The lefties they don't care. When's the last time you heard a lefty say anything about anti-war other than maybe Palestine? Like, there's been zero anything from that side, so they're not really all that against it. So
I missed
the side you had to win over was to get in your Donald Trump, to have the guy that was all about, which is one of those things I really believe in, that you hope and change, and Donald Trump's campaign are basically the same campaign. It's like, let's get the evil out of government, the corruption out.
He's the orange Barack Obama.
That's been everybody that's run since George W. Bush. That's been the message that's won the election, other than the completely anti-Trump message with Biden.
Well, I'll say it could be worse still. If we had Kamala, I still think it would be worse. The border would be open on top of all this.
Fair enough.
Government employees get fired.
I would argue with that, because the Democrats had seen how much of a losing strategy that was, and in the last term of Biden, the last bit of his term was actually better on immigration than it had been the first. So it's not like it wasn't getting addressed. I don't know if even that was.
I think if they had won, though, if they would have won, though, they would have said, "Well, see, the open border policy is popular," and then they just would, what I'm saying?
I think it would have actually been worse in that regard. They would have just.
I agree with Flirt. Yeah, if there's one thing that I could point to that's been positive since Trump's been elected, the border has been closed. Well, okay.
A decent chunk of government employees have been fired. I've been having some weird experiences, actually. So, like a family friend, I guess I would call her a cousin, just recently graduated with like a sociology degree. And she had been lined up to work for like a USAID organization for like her internship this coming summer. And it just torched. The whole thing's gone. And on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sad, because like she had a whole plan after college. On the other hand, I'm low-key kind of happy.
Really good at trans puppet shows too. It was a shame.
Because maybe it puts her down a whole different career path instead of working in government or doing something.
What do you have between your legs? I just have this tricep right here.
Wow.
Sorry, that was my last one. I had to throw one more out.
That was not your last one. Do not lie to us.
Caitlyn Jenner, the puppet musical.
Don't you Donald Trump us, okay, Logan? All right, don't you sit there and give us these
about the weave.
promises.
It's beautiful. You weave in, you weave out, you weave back.
Don't you lie to us.
Yeah, you can't, man.
Anyways, go on.
Sorry, I did cut you off there. What were you saying?
No,
you did mean to cut him off, and you did it anyways. But it was funny, so
it's
we
just
allow
an
it.
example that there definitely seems to be some positive movement. Of course, like having a bunch of people laid off from the government is not the greatest thing in the world. It's also really surprised me knowing how many of like acquaintances I know, family, friends, or family members who worked for the government that I just had no idea. Where like suddenly they're like, yeah, no, I lost my position in the IRS for 10 years. It's like, what? You were an IRS agent? Like, no idea.
Okay,
None
I'm
whatsoever.
gonna applaud that one.
I had no idea, and I apologize for showing you any level of respect all these years.
I had no idea I was siding with the enemy.
Yeah, I would have never invited you over for Thanksgiving if I had known that.
But it is kind of interesting too, because like you remember when COVID was happening, people were like, yeah, there's deaths all over the place. I have never heard of anyone who died from it. I didn't know anyone. Like tangentially, I knew one person in Norway through like 3 connections. But like, we got a bunch of people fired in government. I've been hearing it just nonstop, left and right. So like, if statistics are the same, we have to assume that more people have been fired from the government than people died of COVID. Like that's the only conclusion I can make from all this.
That's
But I don't know. I'm curious. Do y'all know anyone who's been fired or let go from government positions, or have y'all tangentially?
I have a really good friend of mine that he worked for an age. I can't even remember where he worked in the government, some like made up alphabet agency. And him and I could not disagree more in politics. Let's just say that. And yet he still thinks I'm like this. It's weird. He thinks I'm like a hardcore MAGA guy. And like, I'm like, have we like never talked before? Like, I don't know what's going on right now. But anyways, he works.
You do have the general vibe, to be fair.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair, dude. I have resting January 6th face, I guess. I can't.
You just gotta put on some racism sunglasses and you'll fit right in, dude.
All you need is your Oakleys, baby. You're Oakleys. You're in.
Yeah, I am wearing my. I can't take credit for that joke. That's actually my buddy Tyler Wolf, who's a really talented comedian. That's his joke. But so a big shout out to Tyler on that one.
Good.
I was about to say I've heard that before. I think I've seen some of his stand up online.
Yeah, he's the guy with the big old beard.
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, that's my boy. He's that's his joke, and he's very, very talented. But it was applicable to this conversation, so big shout out to Tyler. I appreciate the laugh that I got for at least 5 seconds that I could take credit for.
A man of integrity.
Yeah,
here.
I just my boys' jokes, dude. You know. But anyways, with what was I saying? My boy. Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, your friend.
He wasn't let go, but a bunch of people around him were let go, and I guess he was affected by that because it added more to his plate. And he was like talking to me about it, and I'm like,
all my commie friends have less money now.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I don't feel bad because those are the same people that were saying they couldn't give a damn if you lost life, limb, property, everything that you had worked for, being ostracized from society because you refused to take an experimental medical treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for those.
Which is another one. We gotta correlate that one back. That was old Don himself too. The Lightspeed, Project Lightspeed.
Yep. 2 weeks.
We forget that. All this inflation that he ran on was from the money he printed during COVID.
It is stuff that he's never apologized for. I mean, he's never admitted he was wrong with that. Not one. To this day, he talks about how the vaccines and Project Lightspeed were a great success.
I'm sure any day now he'll absorb that lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the third term, he should have learned all the lessons, I think, and he'll be great.
Third term.
I can't hear.
Right? You mean
his
the
shadow
term?
Was he running? Was he shadow running? Because we all wondered who was the president during Biden's presidency. What if it was Donnie? He was a shadow. He was the shadow president the entire time, dude. Like when we talk about the deep state, it's actually Donald Trump. It's actually
just
Biden's got a little earpiece in, and Trump is like, "All right, trip over the fourth stair. Trip now."
God, I know you're writing and like setting these jokes up for yourself, but could you not shit on me so hard after you fucking make me take the call like that?
Your wife hates you, Joe. Your wife hates you. Do what I say.
She's gonna wear a red dress on election day.
Your son's a crackhead. Your son's a crackhead, Joe. Remember that. You failed as a father.
I will say that. Matt. Well, no, I feel like and this is the problem, right? This is kind of a 30,000 foot view of what's plaguing American society and why, with every day that passes, I'm more and more convinced that we're just like slow marching towards collapse because we have this irreconcilable problem where the cognitive dissonance just resonates so deeply that people are saying like, oh, Donald Trump, he looks out for the American person. It's like, oh no, that guy's added like $13 trillion to the deficit in his 5 years. You know what I mean? I think
it's actually $16 trillion. But go on.
But it was fair enough. So I actually felt like I was overshooting it at 13.
I think this means we all need to get on my Chinese betting site before this next election, and whichever Democrat becomes the front runner for releasing the actual Epstein files, even though they won't do it, that will be the person that could win the next election. Right? Maybe. Because that's the pattern. It's the other guys were evil. Now it's my turn. Oh, shit, I was evil too. So the next guy's going to come fix the corruption. So is that not the next big ticket item? Is like, remember when Donald Trump lied to you guys?
I guess Gen Alpha could fall for it twice.
Maybe they
possible.
could. I mean, several people.
It's a different
did.
flavor. It comes in blue this time.
But even then, though, it's like, why would you? It's the same. At least this time with the Epstein thing, it had some sort of air of, well, this team wasn't in charge. But now both the blue team and the red team has had ample opportunity to do something about it, and they won't. But
dude,
that's, I guess. Hold up, let me.
a year
I just want
away.
to finish.
Sorry,
I
go
want to
ahead.
finish my point real fast, and then I'll let you go, and then I'll relinquish the air. The problem is that there is just everybody is so willing to give a pass to their own side right now, and nobody wants or can. I think at this point, who can hold these people accountable? Because they say that it's like, oh, you can go out and vote. Oh yeah, because that's why there's a 98% re-election rate in Congress. Because voting out the incumbent works so well. I think at this point it's like we have just like we're just slow marching it. It's not, and this is, I made this argument on this podcast before. We are not witnessing the collapse of the empire. Donald Trump is not Julius Caesar, but he is Maria or he is Sulla. And I'm not sure which one he is, but we're witnessing like the storm before the storm, as Mike Duncan's book called it. That's what we're in. This is the setup that in 20, 30, 40 years that the empire actually will collapse. And you can look back and be like, oh yeah, it's because all of this shit happened. Like, duh, what did you think was going to happen when you guys just allowed the government to just run even more unchecked than it had before? That's all I have to say. I release my time.
As soon as we're ready to cash in Social Security checks that don't exist anymore, we're like, oh, government's collapsing. Fucking awesome.
Thanks, like, just our luck.
Really appreciate. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you were saying both sides had this Epstein file, but we just did this. This is the whole Trump story. Remember all the talk about how he's completely killed the old Rhino faction. The Republican Party has been remade. This isn't your grandpa's Republican Party. This is the new Republican Party, full of liberty-minded thinkers and free speech advocates. And we've really turned over a new leaf, and that's why we're going to win the popular vote in this election. We're about a year away, 2 years away from the Democrats starting to float people out. We're going to start getting all these stories of the massive reformation of the Democratic Party. They've started to finally see the error of their ways, and they're going to kick out all the old guard, and they're going to sacrifice, Nancy Pelosi. They'll wheel her out in a wheelchair and throw tomatoes at her and talk about how corrupt she was. And we're the good party now. And you thought you had it on the right with Donald Trump, but that was all smoke and mirrors. And this time's different. And then they're going to get in there and say all the same shit.
I disagree. I actually do not think that they're going to come to that conclusion by the midterms. David Hogg, as much as I do not like that person, left his post as the vice chair of the DNC because of irreconcilable differences of the party establishment. Like, this is a guy that's saying we need to primary.
Did he leave or was he kicked out? I thought he was kicked out.
He chose not to run for re-election. So whatever that means.
Okay.
It could either be personal reasons or it could be that they forced him out. But regardless, like somebody, as much as I do not like transitioning, I mean, he's got those weak ass arms already. So
he's getting ready to embrace his true self, and he needs some private time to do that.
But I just don't think. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that they are going to be able to come around in the next 18 months. Oh, goodness, like people have to declare what by September. I mean, like primaries happen in what, February, March, April. I mean, it's coming around. Like the war machine has to. If you are going to try to make a serious run at Congress next year, you're already in the works. And I don't think that message has resonated yet with the DNC. I think they're still completely oblivious to the fact that they got their asses kicked. Now, that might be true in 4 years or 6 years, but I don't think in 2 years. And I think even by the next presidential election, we're going to see just kind of the same old run back. You're going to get your Amy Klobuchars. You're going to get your Pete Buttigiegs. You're going to – I don't think that – I think it will come, but it's not coming. It's not coming in this next round.
What about your right side, though? Do you think we are primed for another MAGA candidate? Is he still the kingmaker?
I've been thinking about that a lot, dude. I don't think he was ever the kingmaker because his record in endorsing candidates is abysmal, dude. like abysmal. Well, all he does is he embraces one candidate. He sees they're losing, and then he goes and embraces the other candidate. Like that's like his entire political life. That's what he's done. He's flip flopped on his endorsements, except for Thomas Massey, because that's the only person he refuses to admit actually has any kind of spine or principle in American politics.
Well, spines are rigid. They're not as flexible as you need in your congressional seats to be a good president.
I am so bendy.
I think it's
I will say too, real quick,
important.
before I let you take it, Kiefer, that is only true in elections that Trump is not on the vote for. Now, obviously, he's not going to be on the card for the next one unless we really have some reformation.
I just don't think he's going to.
You mean the final term?
Dude. Well, it's not the endorsement. Like I would say the same thing Logan was saying. You know, the way in which Trump is a kingmaker is just that people show up for him. If he's on the ballot, and anyone else who's on the ballot, like call it an undercard, if you will, gets a boost just because people vote for one party. They don't really vote for candidates. And I think more than anything, the RNC actually needs to have some sort of like clear picture of who they are and what they're going to be moving forward in 2028. And if someone can like present that in a way that engages the same base that showed up for Trump, then yeah, the RNC can keep going. But if they can't, it'll be back to, 2015, 2014 business as usual. Because I mean, the big issue is that Trump pulled out a bunch of people who don't normally vote or who had kind of given up on politics at that point. And these same people are the same people who are looking at the Epstein files and being like, what the fuck, guys? It's the same people who look at Iran and we're kind of like, what the fuck, guys? The same people who look at Ukraine and will look at Taiwan and say, what the fuck, guys? And if those problems aren't like resolved in an honest way where people feel like they can trust whoever the next Republican frontrunner is, the Republicans, even though population will grow, will probably lose 4, 6, 8 million votes. That's enough to swing an election, even if everyone who votes still votes the same party.
Who do you think, or like, cause I've actually been thinking a lot about this, like just as an interesting thought. I didn't even realize my dog was in here, by the way, until I heard her shake, and I was like, I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, we all saw your dog,
Jamie. So polite.
It's very cute. We all saw it.
This is Rebel.
Blurred out.
Hold on. There we go. There's
Rebel.
She's trying to stay blurry.
Yeah,
she's black.
JAV.
Yeah, exactly. She's wanted in 9 states, so
stay in the shadows.
He's a great dog.
Mostly sexual assault allegations.
Allegedly, Logan.
Allegedly. Excuse me, my bad.
As she like licks my leg. All right. But I've just as an interesting thought experiment, I think a part of me has wondered if the Republican Party, because people feel so disenfranchised and dismayed by what Trump has done, if it's primed for another Ron Paulian movement. I guess that's probably wishful thinking on my part. I do look at somebody like a Thomas Matt, because that's what had happened. Like that. I mean, Ron Paul's 2008 and 2012 campaigns were off of people feeling disenfranchised with the neocon Republican Party, and the grassroots movement was a groundswell of people of people who had been feeling that way but did not have a voice that was running on a major party platform like the Republican Party, for instance. The same thing, this very similar thing happened with Bernie Sanders, for instance, right? Obviously, Ron Paul is a million times better than Bernie Sanders ever would be. But with that being said, exactly. But with that being said, I have thought about that a lot Ron Paul wasn't really all that well known until his 2008 campaign, right? And like Massey is well known in libertarian circles, conservatarian circles, if you want to call it that. I think a lot of people have seen him as the only principal person standing up for what people actually wanted Trump to do. Like when people say, I've seen Massey say a couple of times, I'm more MAGA than Trump is, because he actually is like America first, like in the truest sense of that phrase, right? And so I have been thinking about that a lot, because frankly, I mean, you got through my Liberty Uninterrupted time, you guys know I was completely disenfranchised with the political system, did not vote basically that entire time I was running the podcast, really embraced the volunteerist right and Ancapistan in my head, right? And it's hard not to feel that way now, considering all that's happened, because I almost feel like the old me was proven right in this moment, And frankly, the only person I would support at any the only person I would support with any fervor at all would be Massey. I mean, I like Rand Paul well enough, but Massey's more Ron Paul than Rand Paul is, which is kind of crazy, but like he really is. So anyways, I put that out there as a fun thought experiment because I've been thinking a lot about the similarities between the disenfranchisement of 2008, 2012, and then, obviously 2025.
I think it's a little disrespectful to the shine and the charisma that Jeb Bush is bringing to this next election, frankly.
Please clap.
I had no idea who you were going to say, but I was like,
retracted.
Logan's got a name that's going to be funny. I don't know
Point
who it's
retracted.
going to be.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Jeb Bush is going to clean house, dude, in 2020.
I was actually pulling up the Bush
Charismatic out
family
there.
tree. I was trying to find who the next one was. There are some younger brothers. There's a Neil and a Marvin Bush that I've never heard of.
Oh, Marvin's got it in
Marvin.
the bag, dude.
Marvin.
Starving
Yeah.
Marvin, dude.
This is
Starving
their
for
adopted
authority.
black brother.
Yeah. Those are my war crimes, Marvin.
Dude,
there's going to be a Bush on that stage. They won't. They're still too far away, I think. I don't know. I say
I
that.
don't think so.
This might be time for a Bush again. I mean, we've had that record. That was one of the questions I put down on my sheet to ask you guys of like, I spent the first Trump presidency going like, I can't believe people are saying that Trump is worse than Bush. That is insane with the amount of damage that Bush did to this country and all the wars that he perpetuated. And then now we're here in the second term of Donald Trump, and you're like, he might get there. He might outdo
All
Bush.
my favorite memes are the ones they put Bush's face with Trump's hair. Have you seen that? Have you guys seen that?
I've not seen
All right,
those.
I'm gonna find it.
Please share it with the class when you find it.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I do want to get y'all's thoughts on that. Like, I don't know if you think, and is it a pipe dream that I'm talking myself into, or do you think there's any credence to that?
I don't think it's going to happen because I think the Republican Party, if they're going to do anything meaningful, it will be heavily dependent on what the youth wants more than anything else. Like there isn't really a lot of like energy within the Republican Party for those past, like I'd say 50, 60, all that's just waning.
Are you more or less optimistic about Andrew Tate than Donald Trump?
In what regard?
Shut up, woman.
As President of the United States of America, as the leader of the free world, Matthew.
What color is your Bugatti?
In terms of liberty and justice and making the world right for young men again.
Logan, you were not thinking about the question.
Dude. Oh my goodness. Don't ask those type of questions, Logan. Don't put me in those situations. Don't make me have to seriously think about Andrew Tate and Donald Trump and which one's the better leader.
Megan Fox or Hulk Hogan? Come on.
You brought that to the show originally, Matt. That's your fault.
Oh man. That's
you put our foot on the banana peel that is Andrew Tate content.
I don't know if I sent this I know I sent it to Kiefer where he's degrading his brother about his nephews and nieces being black. Dude, it's so funny. I'll have to show it.
My nephews and nieces are a quarter black.
Because he drops the hard R and he'll get this show taken down, and we don't want that. So
yeah, I still don't quite feel comfortable saying it.
He looks a little swarthy to me.
He's half black.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, their dad is like full on black. They just got all of their mom's skin, I guess.
Was their dad not around to defend himself when he was saying all this racist stuff, or?
No, he was out getting milk.
He died a while back, but yeah, also they were divorced. He wasn't really in the picture. He wasn't really around.
Yeah, that'll inject some healthy racism
got
into your
mugged
heart.
Got
a little bit of misogyny.
By darker black people.
There is something about that. A lot of these male alpha influencer type of guys do come from these single mother households. It is interesting that it's a little bit of a compensation act.
There are only two paths you can go down from the single mother household.
You either get red pilled or you go to jail. One of
full on simp or misogynist to the core. You pick your poison.
I was thinking
misogynist to the core, the more like fashion dude, but both are terrible womanizers in the end. Raised by women.
Or the single mother
Matt, you gotta let me
not
share
actually
my
a good
screen.
person.
Can you let me present my screen real fast,
yeah,
Matt? I couldn't find the meme, but I found this one.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I feel it.
So
Is that
that's where I'm at.
typewriter on his back?
I don't know.
AI just goes crazy.
AI's getting better.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be a typewriter?
AI didn't know what to put
think
back there.
so.
No idea.
I would prefer it to be a flamethrower, honestly, so that we can burn those damn commies.
It
But-
was at least AI knew to make it a semi-automatic typewriter.
I don't know. I guess, like, to answer your question though, Jamie, I'm skeptical of the long-term prognosis of all of this stuff. I think that this is just the slow walking, and it's so, like, I'm so optimistic about my own life, the people that I know, you know what I mean? I have so much to be grateful and thankful and excited about. But when I look to the country as a whole, I really do think that we're just slow walking it, because I think that we're reaching these critical thresholds of things that you just don't come back from. I mean, at a certain point, like, debt to GDP collapses empires, and we've hit that. There's just certain things that you need people to buy into institutions, whether those institutions are good or not. You need the majority of people to look at the courts. You need the majority of people to look at government. You need the majority of people to look at the systems in place and say that my life is better because they are here than not. And I think that we've hit that tipping point. And I mean, I've talked about this numerous times in the past. We've reached to the point where, like, we can't even agree on what's happened. I mean, let alone figure out, like, what do we do about it as a country, as a society? We can't even agree on simple facts of events. So
can you share my screen real fast, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
There you go.
That
was an Alex Jones tweet.
Why is he? I was about to say, why is he more handsome that way?
Yeah, that's a whole ass lie.
I'm actually, like,
He seems. I'm kind of ready to vote for George W. Bush again.
George Bush is way more handsome with that haircut.
I would take his advice about both golf clubs and boats.
Yes.
No, watch this swing.
Maybe he goes to Trump's hair guy and he just comes back and, hey, you fellas, remember me? My name's Jeb. They just kill off Jeb behind some door.
He calls himself Marvin. Actually,
I'm Marvin.
I'm Marvin.
Hey, that's me, the little rascally brother, Marvin.
To that point, I guess is a follow-up question, Matt, because you and I went back and forth quite a bit on Succession, and I was very much in the national divorce train, Michael Malice, for a very long time, and not that I ever stepped away from that. Not that I've ever, like, really stopped believing that is probably the most viable option. I just stopped entertaining a lot of these thoughts and moved on to other things in my life, like we've discussed, offline. But, like, I've come back to that a lot, as well as thinking, man, I like that the national divorce button seems more viable than it probably ever has been, in my mind. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with that statement in theory, but this is me. I guess I'm just black-pilled today. I actually had a really good day. Don't let the hate that I spew outward, like, reflect how I act, because I actually had a really good day. I'm generally quite content and satisfied with my life at the moment. However, I am skeptical of the possibility of national divorce, because you would need to have a cohesive theme and identity to bind people together. And that's the problem that's plaguing America, is that we don't have, there are no continuative narratives. You can't identify as, like, people don't identify as Southern or Western or Northern or New York. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's has, they've
a little bit of that. I was about to say, I wonder, what state would you say? Is Texas the obvious answer for
Texas
the state
is
that's
the
the
answer.
closest
Texas,
to having that identity?
Texas has the strongest state identity.
I mean that's how you identify Texan overseas. You know what I mean? It was the clear, and I fell into this
best
same
penises
trap.
too.
It's people ask, like, where are you from? And everybody but Texas will say I'm from America, but Texans will say I'm from Texas, no matter where they are in the world. So if there is any one group, but even then, I mean, just think of
So
Texas.
I want
as- yeah.
to.
Well,
Go
the good
ahead.
news with
Sorry,
the
I was trying-
experiment
I
is
wa-
I live in Texas, so if it's the only one that can make it,
I wanted to follow up, Matt, because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Because you're saying that you have to have this identity in a succession effort. You're saying you have to have an identity to bind to when you're seceding, but
No,
that's
you
also
just
the problem
like
with
yeah,
America. That's the
you
problem
need.
with America today is that we don't have
We don't
that.
have
You
it.
know,
Like our national myths are dead.
because
We have
because
no.
other countries. Sorry, just real fast because I'm trying to make sure I understand this
Yeah.
right. So because other countries and I've it's so weird that I didn't like realize this until I was older. But I was thinking about other countries and listening to people that have lived abroad or like from other like national identity and race and ethnicity is really what binds. Like if you're from Italy, what binds you together is that you're Italian. If you're from Japan, you're Japanese. You know what I'm saying? You're but in America, like to your point, we've never had that. It's always been the principles of which we were founded on is what bound us together. And now obviously that is what has disseminated, right? So
this is old thinking, guys. This is the problem with this is that you're stuck in the old world right now because we're not a religious society here. We're not a racially based society here. We have one thing in this country that truly matters, that binds us together, that usurps everything else. And that's why we need to simplify this. We need to let college football go through 5 more years of realignment. And then those SEC, that's a country. The Big 12, that's a country. We're just...
I like it.
Whichever
honestly,
division you're born in is where you stay.
I'm in the Pac-12, which I don't love.
You know what's actually funny about that suggestion?
What, you like it? It's actually good?
Is that is actually way more of a...
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could actually find a lot more commonality and middle ground in
Who
that
do you root
suggestion
for?
than anything else. You would actually get... You could form a country based on conferences way quicker than you could anything
Except
else.
for the ACC. The ACC doesn't work because they got Cal and Stanford. Like, there's no way.
Well,
they're
going to be just the Coastal East that gets swept, under the... there's always losers.
That's why I said we have to let college football realign for 5 to 10 more years so it can show us the correct path.
Yeah. Honestly, that's probably the best idea I've heard on secession efforts.
But
this is
yeah,
right up there with Don Bassistan.
Don Bass, that was a good one
greatest
too.
ideas I've had.
I guess just to answer your question real quick, and then I'll relinquish. I think that is the problem with any sort of modern secession movement, because if you think about them in any sort of historical context, you get people say, I'm a Southerner in America, I'm a Northerner. Or if you think of like the breakup of Czechoslovakia, one of the few but successful peaceful dissolutions of people of a country, like everyone could look at the map and say, like, you guys are Czech over there, we're Slovaks over here. Let's draw the line roughly about where we've separated, and we'll figure out, it's like there's a little bit of like some unknowns on the border, but for the most part, everyone could be like, yeah, we are distinctly and separately, we're distinct and separate people. Or the same, like even a violent thing. Yeah, like a violent breakup in the Yugoslavia. Like you could look and it's like, you guys are Albanians and we don't like white Muslims. And people are over here. It's like, well, we're Christians, and other people are like, we're and you get all of the mixture of it. But there was clear lines that you could draw a country and be like, we are Serbia. In the breakup of Yugoslavia, we could say like, we are Serbia and this is our territory, or we are Albanian, or we are Montenegrin, or we live in Kosovo. And we don't have that in America anymore. And I understand that, and without getting I think that maybe we never did, but I guess like I will say this and then I'll shut up. Even if we've never had like some sort of actual identity, we've had an overarching belief in the myth of this country, because America is as different as many people have lived in it and the experiences and what it means. But the majority of Americans could at least look at America and be like, this is the America I believe in. And I would argue up until the Vietnam War, that was a very cohesive argument. And then after that, it starts to fragment. And now we get this.
You're not completely.
I'm gonna share my screen again real fast.
I gotta do it for us.
I'll shut up. I relinquish.
There is something to that, and that part of that same kind of larger
jumping
argument
in there, Matt.
We've talked about a lot of like we're so transient and corporate based as a society in America that we don't have these small town communities. You don't have people in America that stay in their small town and raise a family there. We all move to a bigger city, or we move around and change locations, and so we become this kind of like that network state idea that we were talking about in the last episode, where it's like you're more of kind of this amalgamous online American than you are a member of any state or community. So yeah, it makes it tough to break up right now. That's a long-term problem you have to fix there.
So somebody posted this 8 months ago as a simulation, I guess they ran. And this was based off of the conference that you were in, if where you mattered, or if where you lived mattered on conference, I guess. And so they ran this simulation, and this is how it turned out. So
that's actually pretty cohesive countries.
A good
like
section of
most
New
I
England
thought.
just doesn't exist. We're giving up Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont.
Yeah, those Canada can
Northern
have
South Dakota.
those places
Yeah,
are
states.
pretty much Canada as far as I'm concerned.
This is a map
You
of
got,
football teams that matter. So
you got Joe Biden sniffing doesn't matter. So
That's how you always identify Montana. Joe Biden sniffing something.
But I look at this and I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. Like I look at that and I'm like, that honestly would be
if you to draw country lines right there.
Confederation of states.
That's actually
low-key, it
yeah.
makes a lot of sense to cut off the top of both Alabama and Georgia and make them into separate states. Like North Alabama and South Alabama, wildly different. Same
It does
with Georgia.
feel like it makes a lot of. It's almost like you could draw a line right above Tennessee too, and everybody south of that could own slaves. It just wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, dude. It's college football,
dude. This is the only. This is what bothers me is Virginia. I guess these are kind of
Cutting West Virginia in half is diabolical, though.
Yeah, it is weird.
We already did that
I look
once,
at Virginia, and being from Virginia, right? Like Southern Virginia versus Northern Virginia is two different worlds, dude. Like it's
I would say that now,
Northern Virginia runs
it needs to be lumped into the red.
What are you saying?
Like Northern Virginia is way more. It shares way more characteristics with like Penn State than it would.
100%. Like this Virginia is like UVA. Like this is Harrisonburg is over here. JMU. Obviously, Charlottesville is actually like middle of the state, so like this doesn't really make a lot of sense right here. But I mean, if you took West Virginia and Marshall, and then you looped this right here. And then basically the coast of Virginia and Northern Virginia would be in the red. That would make a lot more sense in my opinion. Yeah, because it's two different worlds.
Like for that to be the critique, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually. Not
I'm just speaking from
like
having grown up there. I'm like, that's a much better fit.
Because West the part of West Texas might as well actually just be New Mexico.
Yes, over here.
Maggots.
Yeah. It does have New Mexico vibes. They got
Colorado. We suck. You know what I mean? When it comes to a lot of things, I just
feel bad for whoever's a UTSA fan.
New Mexico sucks.
They don't have anything else down there. You got to pick something.
What are you really into?
UTSA,
I guess.
They
got the Marple Light, bro.
They were like 2 years ago. They got into like an Orange Bowl and lost by 900 points. That was a good year for them.
Oh, you mean like TCU in the national championship at the same year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that was great football to watch. Everyone was so excited about that.
Was there anything else that you guys think is mismatched? I mean, outside that's just a small critique there to y'all's point. But I mean, outside of that, I think it makes a lot of sense. Personally,
I don't like giving Eastern Texas to is that the Atlantic Conference? What do they call that? I'm not familiar with college football.
This is the American Conference.
Okay, I don't like giving
the
Eastern
ACC
Texas to
over
them.
here.
I feel that inclination as a Texan, but if you're going to put Houston right with Louisiana there is a part of me that's like, all right, I get why you would lump those together.
I know.
Can't, man. Even Baytown, I could never give Baytown to them.
They're unruly. They're minorities. They all go to Carnival cruises as far as I'm concerned.
I gotta say this. Did you guys see the new press release from Carnival Cruise?
That's why I brought it up.
Oh,
that's why I brought it up.
Enlighten me, please.
That's what I'm saying.
Logan, if you had to guess a rule that Carnival Cruise would make up to deal with the problem of minorities, what rule would you invent?
Well, you've got the classics of like no backwards hats. That's one that I explicitly got told to me
I
as
don't
a
think they did
bouncer
that
in a
one,
bar I
actually, but
worked
you're
at
gonna
when I
get
was
that
like
was a
5 of
18.
rule,
these,
but
dude.
you're getting
That's a weird rule.
You're
That's
You're
lame.
approaching-
gonna get like 5 of these, dude.
You have to walk the plank if you break out a speakerphone.
Yeah. That was fun.
Oh.
It turns out
there is a,
coconut-based hair products are bad for the ocean.
There's a chat. There's a chat that I wanted to read because you always got to give people. No. You can. I was gonna read that to you guys.
Okay.
But we moved way past. No, shut that. But the Southern Craftsman made a comment on YouTube and he said in Alabama the Jags and Troy would both be much smaller. Locals pull for them, but even still, most consider themselves Auburn or Alabama, which is actually a really good point. Looking at that map, I didn't think I had paid attention to how little Alabama was. But yeah, anyways, shout out to the Southern Craftsman for posting a comment.
Those are semantics. I noticed that too. With like UT was way too low to be Austin on that map. Like it's you got to squeeze it a little bit to get all the college football programs in. There's large swaths of land. That's why UTSA has such a big region because there isn't another team there. And I imagine that was south of San Antonio anyway. So it's like it's just fitting them together. That's not a big deal.
All right. Oh, hold up. We got to go back. I wanna hear the rules. What do you think that Carnival Cruise has been implementing to shake their stereotype of the Spirit Airlines of cruises?
Is that their deal? I haven't kept up with this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
about Carnival?
they've like revamped because I've
seen all the videos of people fighting.
One Twitter user put it so eloquently. I've never seen a viral video of a Carnival Cruise that makes me want to go on it.
That's awesome.
Carnival Cruise now only serving boiled chicken breast.
That's actually pretty funny. They definitely, what is it? They will no longer be playing hip hop or rap. Yeah.
There you go.
On the
That's a
show.
good one.
What was it? The 15 drinks per day will be enforced.
That seems like one.
But I mean, 15 drinks a day. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. But
Yeah, that's pretty easy for an all day on a ship that you're caught on, and the only thing to do is drink. 15 seems like light-ish.
It's doable. I mean, even me, I'm a bit of a lightweight, but I went on a cruise last year, and we bought the drinks package, of course. I hit the daily limit on 2 out of 3 days that the drinks package was active. They don't let you do it the first day. You have to buy all your drinks the first day, which is really dumb.
That's pretty sneaky.
What was it, right?
Common cruises, baby.
It's fucked up because the first day is a half day. You'd think if there was any day that your package would be like, yeah, drink all you want, it'd be the day that starts at 4 p.m. But instead they were like, nah.
No, we're classy.
I thought of another good guess. All children must be under the surveillance of parents with an S.
All right, you're close, Logan.
Oh my god.
They are enacting a curfew on children.
Oh my god. The parents with S though. That's the best. It's like, children must have 2 parents present.
I like how they're all looking. 2.
Yeah, we're talking about you guys.
Just like staring. 2 parents.
2 parents. Oh, you mean you guys don't have that? Huh. I guess you're not allowed on the cruise then.
One of the rules that actually blew my mind to read is apparently there's like this viral dance called the fan dance that people do on cruises. And when I say people, I mean just black people. I've never heard of it before. And so
I hardly call them people.
Shut the fuck up. They have banned these handheld fans on the dance floor now. Specifically, so you can't do the dance.
I don't even want to go now. This sounds like a really boring cruise.
Oh no!
See, all of this stuff, because it's so funny to hear the internet try to defend people. It's like, oh, people are saying the term black fatigue so they can like showcase their races. Like, no, actually, pretty much everybody is just tired of some nonsense coming from a very small subset of the population. They're ruining Carnival cruises. And that talk out loud on their speakerphone in public, that won't shut up in the movie theater.
That one gets me. When people talk too loud in the movie theater, there's something about it, man, that really grinds my gears, dude. It makes me want to go postal.
That I can't throw too many stones on because your
like-
boy talks a little bit during movies.
I
Well,
would
so
never.
You never
guessed
shut
that.
up, Logan. That's like that's not
I
even
like
You guys are
talking
gonna
over
love
here.
this part.
that like you just never stop talking.
Yeah, you've
Do you
got
guys-
Andrew
what do you think
Tate
happens
coming,
next?
man. Might have a half black cat.
I can imagine Logan's the guy during the previews that's loudly critiquing. Oh, that looks good. I like that.
Absolutely. Like Marvel's really shit in the bed these days.
Yeah,
A lot of that coming from the back row.
It's behind you. The call's coming from inside the house. Don't go outside. She's the vampire, you idiot.
Caw, motherfucker.
Jesus, is that actress trans, or do we just need to bring Epstein back for the pretty ones to get back in film?
That's why.
Weinstein. I said the wrong. I said the
Jeez,
wrong Jewish pedophile name. I'm sorry.
Hey,
There's
hold
so
up.
many to choose from.
Hold up. Do not go dragging the good name of Jeffrey
I knew you were
Epstein
going to say that.
through the mud,
No,
all right? Like,
no,
this
you're right.
man is exonerated.
All of those children were
Fair.
just for him. Completely innocent.
Oh,
I still can't believe he killed himself the day before he's completely exonerated for lack of evidence.
Such a shock.
Man,
and it's definitely normal for just a minute of security video to just be deleted and have no accounting for whatsoever.
didn't they say it was like
I think-
5 minutes too? They came out recently and said there was actually a longer piece of video missing.
I do have to say something about that video because I think it's one of the most hilarious things ever. You know, DOJ releases the video. It's like 8 or 9 hours
62.
long of the entire like night that he died. And, you know, people are coming out. They're like, there's a minute missing. There's 5 minutes missing. And like, who actually sat down and like really just watched to actually see? Like, who did? Did anyone?
There's some
Not
one
me.
good autist did.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
So
dude.
story
Never
Dude, they-
underestimate the power
when
of
Shia
the
LaBeouf
office.
when Shia LaBeouf started a
Yes.
campaign against Donald Trump after
He
his
will
first
not
election,
divide us.
he kept moving that flag around, and the internet used
That was
star
different.
maps
That
and
was
flight
fun.
patterns. Yeah, you don't think there's
Finding,
somebody
like some
invested in
random
this? It
field
was
in
fun.
England where a
It
guy
was
was
fun.
honking on a live stream until he could be heard in the video, and then they directed him to tear the flag down. Like, that's the level of autists that we're dealing with. Of course, somebody watched the footage.
So-
That was fun though. Like someone just sitting there watching like 9 hours of video just to actually be
All right.
sure that what we're getting
Back
out
up
of it was
to back
like,
up my case
what
again.
they said.
Then, have you watched "Don't Mess with Cats"?
What's that?
Because that wasn't
Oh,
fun.
the
It's a
Netflix
documentary on
documentary?
Netflix, I believe.
Oh, okay. I do.
Yeah, I
know
never
what that
It
is.
was,
watched
they
yeah.
caught a murderer eventually because he was making mean videos about cats, and they eventually
Yeah.
doxed him online and found evidence of him actually killing people as well. So it doesn't have to be fun for the internet to get invested.
Still,
You
that
just
was
got to have
fun as well.
one hyper focused autistic kid who's really into this. And there's got to be
Like-
one. This is a big story, baby.
I don't know. It'd be the easiest troll ever just to be like, oh yeah, there's a minute missing at blah 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 timestamp when like there actually isn't, because like I didn't actually go and verify. I read the story. I was like, damn, there's a minute missing. I shared it with a bunch of people. It's like, damn, look, there's a minute missing. Did I actually go look? No, I didn't go look at all. I had no idea. And
I mean,
could
that
even
goes
be
back to
the-
we can only go off of the information that we have too, right? Like you're only operating off of the like you said, we will never know. I am assured now that we will never truly know the true story of Epstein, the suicide, the camera, the lost foot. I mean, we'll never know. It'll never happen. And that's, dude, that is such a bummer, man. Because like, there was that glimmer of hope of like, shoot, we might actually have made a mandate as an American people to really change some things, at the very least expose some corruption here, and to sit there and think, man, that's just I don't have any hope for that. Like that will never come to the light of day, at least not in this
Yeah.
life.
Absolutely.
So
It's 9/11 for Gen Alpha, man. It's gonna.
is that what you were? That's what I assumed you were talking about when you said that comment earlier. That's what you were talking about as a cover. Yeah, it's.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be
to
one of those
listen, and to
political-
Matt's point earlier, like, I mean, there are clips about Dan Bongino. I don't think he made his career on it. It definitely helped his career. I mean, because Bongino's been around for a long time, but he always seemed like an atypical conservative. I don't use the word grifter, but I can't really think of another term because that's overused. But I mean, that is pretty apt description of him. You
Might
know,
be overused
and talking
for
about if I
Zach.
got in there, things would change. Cash Patel, you know, he talked about on Rogan publicly what he would do if he was made the FBI director. Congratulations, bud. You got handed the role of a lifetime and you've done nothing. My favorite thing was when he said, you know, promises kept about moving the FBI headquarters across the street. Because he talked about moving the FBI. He talked about dismantling the FBI headquarters and moving basically all these agencies across the country, right? Not actually having, I believe, an FBI like headquarters in DC, or having it what's it called, decentralized, right? And he literally has the gall to say, "I told you I would do it" on Twitter, and they're literally just moving the headquarters down the road in
We
DC.
dismantled the old building.
Wait, are they still in DC? Not even like, oh, we moved to.
I'm almost positive. I'll let me double check, dude. I don't want to speak out of turn.
It would be awful if they moved to Virginia, because even that's like, you know, half a mile. But if they couldn't even leave DC, that's like.
It was cheaper to get the movers if we didn't need a truck.
Yes,
it's called government efficiency, guys. Did you already forget?
Yeah, we got all these employees here doing nothing. Obviously, we can have just carry the boxes across the street.
Yeah, here it is, dude. FBI Director Cash Patel has announced significant changes regarding the agency's headquarters and workforce distribution. Patel revealed that the FBI will be relocating its headquarters
now we have
from the
casual Fridays.
the J. Edgar Hoover building, where it has been based for over 50 years, to the Ronald Reagan building in Washington, D.C. It's still in DC, dude. Like, those are the major those are the major changes that everybody voted for. This is what we voted for. We voted for more weapons going to Ukraine. We voted for we voted for the continued genocide of the Palestinian people. We voted for the FBI building being moved into
that was another day one promise right there. We're supposed to be done with Russia, Ukraine, but day one.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
That?
I had to pull it up on maps to see how far they moved.
Oh, that's good.
Just share the screen. Just show us.
Share my screen.
I
thought that like the screen would move. You know how sometimes like you find a new thing and like it shoots you over somewhere.
It
like
doesn't even move.
Here's Ronald Reagan building right here. This is the J. Edgar Hoover building.
Holy shit!
That's what I'm saying. I read it was
less than a mile.
That's 4 blocks, and these are half blocks. So
right.
I'm saying
you're looking
DC,
at a quarter
DC's
mile a piece,
compact,
maybe.
Man. Yeah, DC's compact, dude. You know,
they
my
made it about a
family's from
mile.
DC, and
it's like
the mailbox for
That's
my
a walk.
apartment is 5 blocks away from where I live right now.
Bro,
I walk further to get my mail than this, dude. What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you have anything to say about the ineffectiveness of the private sector? Now that your landlord can move your mailbox, and Cash move the whole FBI.
Holy shit, dude!
Isn't that the postal service that does? I guess not, because it would be the apartment complex that set the.
Yeah, they didn't want to have
like
9
that's what I'm
different rooms.
like, and he has the balls to tweet this out like he's doing something. Like it's like, I told you I'd keep my promise. I told you guys. No,
Well, he knew that. He saw that Epstein news was coming down the pipeline. He wanted to get a little bit of good credit on the sheet there before he dropped that one.
Yes,
there's no good credit to be had.
Holy shit! From 10th Street to 13th Street, it's literally just 3 blocks, and these 2 are half blocks. So it's really just like 2 blocks. Two fucking blocks.
Do you have that little distance thing?
Probably, but I'm a boomer. You'd have to give me a few seconds to figure out how to. Is it
this one?
I also can't see the bottom of my screen, so I don't know. What do you mean this one?
I have my mouse on it. I don't know if you. Oh,
yeah,
fair enough.
See your cursor.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys can't see what I see. You guys are idiots.
Yeah, I like the fuck you fucking boomer. It's right here where my cursor is on my screen.
Yeah, actually, you guys want to go for a little street view walk?
Yes, actually.
Okay,
see how many homeless we see on the way.
So I'm pretty sure that should be it. So if we keep going down Pennsylvania, see how many blocks it takes to get us to their new building. Oh wow, this is a long way. Oh my gosh. All right, what street is this?
Well,
This
it's
makes
far
me-
enough that we have to order trucks. We can't, we can't just
Oh, yeah,
carry
of course.
it.
See,
Of course.
I'm not
Oh,
joking.
sorry.
Oh yeah, you went the wrong way.
So I just looked this up. I'm not. It's a 4-minute car ride. It's a 7-minute walk.
Yeah, I can see that already. All right, we've gone 1 block already.
A 7-minute walk. Oh,
All right,
well,
2 blocks.
We're almost
It's
there.
a 3-minute bike ride.
this
It's
is
too short to fly.
7 clicks on the Google Maps Street View.
It's not a lot. What street is this? This is 13th. Okay, so
What?
it should be right here.
That's it.
Holy shit.
That was 9 clicks on Google Maps Street View.
That's not a lot. 7-minute walk.
It's
Oh.
it's 0.3 miles to be
Dude,
Oh my god.
that's nonsense.
Holy
Like
shit.
0.3 miles. I looked at I walked 11 miles today just in like pacing around like a hamster, honestly, in my self-created cage. but
just
it's like,
nibbling on leaves, dude.
dude, but point
Keeps you
0.3
motivated.
miles. That's ridiculous.
I got something for you. Hold on, because you guys are talking about Cash Patel always looking. There you go. He
think,
always
yep,
looks
that's-
like that.
When
That's
you can
literally
see the
his
lights
face
on
all
top
the
of their
time.
eyes, they're psychopaths.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
look.
That's I picked that up from Dr. Drew.
He always looks like that.
It's like a really light brow lid. Like this guy on Ethno Guesser would probably throw everybody off, dude. He'd be like, "Where is he from? Where could he be from?"
Where is he from? So I
Looks like a
actually-
good red-blooded American face to me.
yeah, Cash Patel. What's his full
Cash
first
Patel.
name? It's definitely not Cash.
I don't
it's
remember.
It's
I found
Cash
his,
Money
like,
Patel.
high school
Johnny
years.
Cash Patel.
Cash.
Cash Money Patel.
Cash Money.
Young Money Moolah, baby.
I do want to play Ethno Guesser because I think that should be a staple. However, I do want to get y'all's thoughts, general vibes on what happened in Texas. And not in the sense of like God, we know it's a tragedy that breaks my heart. I literally cried when I had to turn off my phone because I saw the picture of those 27 girls missing. It's like it wrecked me. So
You got it
not
wrecked?
some. Please don't do that, Logan.
Yeah,
that's-
you said you were
like-
done earlier than
Like, come on, that's like
I thought
that's-
I thought you just queued it up like we weren't going to do the thoughts and prayers part that every podcast has. I heard a
No,
fantasy football podcast do that
I
today.
wasn't-
They were like thoughts and prayers. And anyway, these running backs in this class, you're like, get the fuck out of here.
and
This
I
song
was
goes out
I was
to
actually-
everyone in the
I was-
world who died in the floods. Rah rah hum rah rah hum rah la la.
Look at those hamstrings on Barkley. You couldn't drown him with any level of water.
We'll just jump over it backwards.
Jamie's trying so hard to be good in that laugh.
So back to the
Well, I was
109
just,
people who are dead so far.
I was just gonna because I've been really curious about this idea because of course everybody's the finger pointing and the blame game is alive and well, and it's like whose fault is this? And I've seen people on the internets talking about, well, this is because Donald Trump cut Doge and these positions, like these critical positions were unfilled. And then other people are like, well, we're actually adequately staffed. And these are the warnings that went out. And it looks like it was the local authorities that failed to act. And then everyone's like, oh, so it's the local authorities' fault. And then the local authorities turn and say, well, wait a minute. We actually tried to propose a flood warning system like 6 years ago, but you guys vetoed it because it was going to be too expensive. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like the Spider-Man meme. Everybody's pointing. And so I guess I just wonder what y'all's general thoughts are on in the climate. Like, is it an appropriate time? Like when bodies are still trying to be recovered, is that when you should try to like figure it out because it's the most, because people will listen? Is it insensitive? You know what I mean? Like, what are y'all's general thoughts about all of this?
You know, I'm already pointing at the sky talking about cloud seeding.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sure.
That's totally
No, I
fair.
think-
So
I
I
think
will
it's
say,
fun.
I
don't
will say
necessarily
real
believe-
quick, something that like I heard the stat and I don't know if it's true or not, but it kind of makes sense because the river rose from 2 feet to 26 feet in less than a couple of hours. But so Are you
30
guys
minutes.
familiar with CFS? It's how they measure rivers, like cubic feet per second.
Yep.
So the way that you could, like the way you can conceptualize it, it is a basketball size of water moving through an area every second. Like that's how they measure it. So I heard that it went from like 20 CFS to 144,000 in the span of, I don't know, 50 minutes. And if
Yeah, it
that's the
was really
case, like,
quick.
what are you supposed to do about that? I mean, when rivers are going off, they're in the low, like, you know, that's like,
Was
it's
there any
1,000.
prediction of this? Like, what? Like, was there any? I mean, because
A
obviously there's a
few,
flash
but not
flood.
a
I
lot.
haven't. I have not looked into this very much. I mean, obviously it's you know, on Sunday during my church service, we prayed for those who had passed. But like, it's not like I haven't done a lot of digging into it. I heard some people saying something effective like part of the Doge cuts was like the National Weather Service or something like that. I never really paid attention to that. So
Sure.
yeah.
You know, whether those cuts impacted it or not, like the National Weather Service
That was
still
just a
put out the
cop
warning.
out to me. It sounds
It
like,
is because
but
like the
it
warning
is.
was still put out like the night before around 11 p.m., which is really late. But you know that's when it went out, and then like
so it went out the night before.
well, yeah, it was pretty late that night.
Okay.
There was like a flash flood like warning in effect for the general area, but like for the actual like area where the flooding was the worst, because like the storm surge hit at like 5 a.m. So it's not even like
Yeah.
people would have been awake. You know, the one thing that they were talking about in that the county meeting where they're proposing the sirens, those are like fairly loud sirens, so they could have woken them up with maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes beforehand, because you know they would have been triggered by the storm surge, because the dam upriver is maybe about a mile upriver from the campsite. So, you know, even this like flash flood, they wouldn't have had too much of a warning for it. So maybe it would have bought them 2 minutes. Maybe they would have heard it 5 in the morning. Maybe they would have gotten them enough time to run away from the
That's a
side
lot
of the
of
river.
variables, though. You know.
Yeah, it is. And like we don't live in like this end of history, like perfect time where we have everything solved. Accidents happen, bad things are going to happen. And it's just kind of unfortunate. Could things have been better? Yeah, it would have been nice if we had the sirens. You know, the Weather Service did their job. They did predict it. There were a few weather models that were predicting like heavy fucking rain coming down about 3 days beforehand, but those aren't the ones that are generally used. Like the standard models had much less rain coming down. And, you know, there's other factors at play. Like that whole area is like a big limestone riverbed. And limestone's only like half porous, like through cracks. If it's not cracked, like it doesn't absorb any water. So like other riverbeds, like the whole silty area just soaks up water, but this is just stone. So like, you know, if you have a ton of water coming in all at once, it doesn't really have anywhere to go but up.
So it's just
you
a force of nature. Like there's nothing anybody could have.
And it's a lot too.
I mean,
of just,
kind of.
This was the fastest growing real estate market for a decade.
That's true. That's another point.
People were just building on these rivers, building new dams. And it happens every time we get a big rain down here like this. You figure out exactly which dams were not quite built up to specs or didn't quite get built high enough or didn't get the release valve pulled quick enough. And you get these overflows and areas that are not supposed to have water. And I think that's where you always see these too, though, or when we build a lot of houses, a lot of infrastructure really quickly around bodies of water. And especially down here, most of the long-term locals aren't nearly as surprised by this because they've seen this El Nino, what's the other one? El Nino and La Nina.
It's
They've
La
seen that
Nina and
switch.
El Nino. You should
Nino,
know that.
there you
Logan.
go. I should
Come
know
on.
that. You're right.
I've seen
They
those.
do that. They do that switch back and forth, and we get heavy rains. Most of the locals around here kind of like, well, yeah, it's time for it to start raining again. It just switched. And we just went through a decade of, the last 7 years, it wasn't raining a lot, and we built a shit ton of houses on the river.
Yeah, the last like bad rain that we had in this area was like 2014, 2015. I think that was the last summer where it was intense. And since then, it's been really dry for the most part. Like all the lakes have been low. Anybody who's been here since then probably has no concept that like these happen. But like Logan said, any long-term local, just it's going to happen roughly every 10 years. There's just going to be some crazy flash flood. And this was just really tragic and unfortunate that it happened to happen, during a weekend when kids were camping and people were just enjoying the lake. And especially this summer has been really nice in Texas. Like, I don't think we've had a 100-degree day yet. It's just been a great time to be outside. I was on the lake.
I can't believe you said that out loud just now.
Yeah, no, don't move here. Don't move here.
So hot tomorrow. It's
Yeah, it's scorching.
I want to be a Texan.
78. It's 78 degrees right now here in Houston. Like
Is it really?
Some scarlet and black.
It's been raining all day. It's just been chill.
Huh.
We haven't had a hot day this summer, dude. It's been fantastic. But like this is an abnormal summer, but every now and then we get one like this where it's just dumping.
Yeah, I'm either moving to a resort town in New Mexico or Texas, apparently. So there you go.
You're coming to Jamie.
Okay.
Embrace your
gonna
white
come-
slavery.
I'm gonna be
The German-
Embrace your white slavery. Come on, boy.
No, move to the German
indentured
you
servitude
come on
on
down
your
here.
weed
You,
farm.
boy, you better get out there. You better pick that damn old crop I whip you silly boy.
The reverse
impacts.
the reverse slavery fantasy where instead of the white man picking cotton but is picking weed feels almost too much on the nose, to be honest.
Dude, we're
A
here.
little bit.
We're in the upside
I
down.
just get down there and
We live in the
Matt hands
future,
me like a
brother.
leather outfit, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, "Put it on, boy."
And it's like,
The
and it's
plants
hot in there
enjoy it.
too.
Let me see them
You
skin
can't
on
be
that
risking
sled,
them.
boy.
We can't be risking them long Italian hairs touching my pollen.
Cross contaminate my
Greasy
crop.
Italians. You can't contaminate my product.
That's the problem. You see the grease from the wop skin, it ruins the plant leaves.
It changes the dynamic of the plant.
Man. Well, I know that you
The
said you
buzzes
got to
won't
hop
be the
off.
same.
Um,
Yeah, I got a dip.
Anything you want to say? Thanks for joining, man. It's always
Yeah, man.
always a pleasure
Always
to have
good
you.
to have
Great
you
to
on,
see you.
Yeah, sorry I can never stay as long as I'd like to, but no, I just want to say I love you, boys. And in a world that is full of disappointment and regret, I'm grateful to have friends like you guys. So, yeah,
Love you, buddy.
Hey, the feeling's
love you
mutual,
too,
brother.
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. Well, no, it's always good to join you guys and against the mob and all that good stuff, and just always rooting for you guys and your continued. I mean, you guys are one of the few voices of reason out there, which is kind of crazy for me to admit out loud, but I guess which is like I guess that's probably the most depressing thing I could have said tonight. You know that.
We're gonna bring
You guys
up
are the
like
voice
college
of reason.
football
Black
conferences.
Yeah, I've gotta readjust my bearings right now. Yeah, man, I just got really sad.
Well, we're getting that truth out to 50 to 100 people every single week.
Yes, sir, baby.
Just
Hey,
really
they're the
spreading
enlightened
good
ones,
word.
dude. They're the enlightened ones. Yeah, 100%. No, I appreciate you guys, and obviously we communicate as much as we can in the group chat, but it's always good to be with my boys and talk about the craziness of the world and everything, and you know, I anybody out there that has felt like I have felt over the last couple of weeks, I can promise you there's a lot more light than the world would lead you to believe. So I'll end with that
I
message.
believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
respect.
I appreciate y'all. Keep
What's
listening to Against the Mob.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Jamie. We'll see you later,
Of
bud.
course, man.
Send
See you
it
guys.
home right. See you,
Enjoy.
bud.
You
That
know,
was
it
fun.
is always a nice message to remember. Is politics is really far away, but the people you care about are right next to you. So
That's very fair.
Yeah, we used to say that people over politics thing every episode. We've kind of fallen off on that.
When-
Yeah, that was
when
kinda-
y'all
that was
said-
kinda-
when y'all said people over politics, like what did it mean to you? Like to each of you?
kind of exactly that your life should be oriented in a way that the people around you make a larger impact or mean more to you, and your impact on them means more than anything you're going to get out of politics.
Yeah,
All right, respect.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same sentiment that politics is something that's very divisive because people want it to be divisive. But at the end of the day, it's like whoever you surround yourself with. I mean, we are the sum total of the 5 people we spend the most time with, and so if you like the people that you like, if you like the people that you spend your time with, then that's what's up. And I'm also a firm believer that as long as somebody's not just a raging asshole, then politics are never going to be a dividing factor. Like I'm the radical. Usually people are like, oh, people have radical views. It's like, I am the radical in that equation most of the time, and that people choose to still hang out with me. I'm down with that because I have a lot of disqualifying thoughts for polite society.
I heard
You're
you
probably the best one among
Oh, I
us
think
three.
voting's for retards. I talked right over you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize, man. This is my fault. Did y'all ever happen to have like a moment where you suddenly realized that shit really just doesn't matter?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember it specifically, or was it just always a feeling?
No, not always a feeling, but one day I just realized that I had not cared for a while. I was like, oh, I guess I just don't give a fuck anymore.
I don't know. It's a hard question because that's where I started. I was very much on like the, if you the old Carlin line of like, if voting mattered, they wouldn't let you do it. Like it's all fixed anyway. And I almost feel like when I got politically activated and started really paying attention was the one time I stepped away from that opinion. And within 4 years of really studying politics, I just circled right back to it and was like, oh no, I was right actually. None of it matters, and they're all corrupt as shit.
The only lesson I've learned is that I was right the whole time.
Yeah, I just the only difference is now I know the names of the politicians when I tell those stories about the government. Just like now I can name drop a couple of them and tell you specifics about this story. It's not just me saying like you got to believe me. They did some crazy shit in the CIA.
Sources, trust me, bro.
Right. Now I actually have some links that you can click and get to.
No, that's a vibe, man. I had like kind of a weird little journey myself. Obviously, like my politics lean very libertarian, and I kept focusing on like local groups, and like you start off being mad at the president, and then you're like mad at Congress and Senate, then you're mad at like your state legislature,
and then you're mad at commissioners.
We gotta get this fucking comptroller out of here.
Yeah, and then you're mad at like the school district, and then eventually it's just kind of like, if my politics are shrinking like to be this close to me, why don't I care about people in my life this much? It was just like a little light switched over in my head, and I was like, yeah, okay. And now I'm like really personally fascist, but in like I guess the best way possible, in that I'm extremely loyal to all of my friends and family regardless of how they vote. But if I don't know you, you're a fucking stranger, and I do not give a fuck.
Absolutely, same.
And it feels good, man.
Same.
It feels very good.
Man,
on that note,
how we're supposed to orient it.
I think we should take ourselves out on.
I know what you're thinking.
Oh yeah,
let's go. Come on, dude. It's got to be.
All
a
right,
staple.
let me pull it up.
It's got to be a staple. Like,
what did we get?
have to play this
25
game every week.
2550 last time.
No, we had 3,200 last time.
We did good last week.
We were good last time.
We should play this game every single week. It should be a segment.
I've pitched this game in a lot of groups, and people go, "Oh, dude, that's." But I've sent it to a lot of guys in one-on-one chats, and they're all about the game so far.
My keyboard is broken in a very weird way. I think I need to figure out what button I pressed. That's not it.
What is the ethno?
O key is giving me 6s now. If you search for ethno guesser, it's some site called like HBD something. You can share it.
HBD.gg?
Something like that, yeah.
Yep, that's the one. You got it over there.
I'll figure out what's wrong with my keyboard here in a little bit. I don't know what I pressed on accident.
All right. I think I got it. Do we want to do daily game? Is that what we want, or game mode?
I know daily game. There's some wild. The game modes get to like 38 faces in some.
Oh,
games,
that's too much.
That's a long game.
That's
afternoon.
Too much.
That's like I'm gonna fire up this blunt and spend the entire afternoon guessing ethnicities.
All right. Let's see. Share screen. Here we go. All right.
Loki, this game is exciting like this. Like I've never played this on my own, but really? Dude, those faces
South
are
America,
so
for sure.
American it hurts. I actually don't know if they're South American.
Yeah, but I meant American as well. I'm thinking Centralish to.
I don't know, man. The guy's face, like I'm not really familiar with Indians, but he looks almost like he could be some like Native American Indian tribe. Like he doesn't look Central American enough. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like his features are too smooth, and same for hers.
So you think like northern Mexico?
No, even further north than that. I'd put them like somewhere like south of the Great Lakes region. I just don't know Indian tribes enough. Yeah.
You're thinking
well, you got your I know you're okay, to give you a little my limited Native American, your Seminoles were very tall.
Mm-hmm.
That's your Florida region. Your Cherokees are your short kind of like plains. They came out of the mountains once they got horses and became Mongolians essentially.
Okay.
And those are they're like little squat short cave people that learned how to ride horses.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure your Greater Lakes region. I'm a little bit. It's like your Blackfoots and your Crows, I think, but I don't know what they look like.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna go
don't.
with Yucatan.
I'm thinking that northern Mexico type thing. I could see this kind of being New Mexico area, even that north. But my inclination was kind of northern Mexico when you said that earlier.
Well, hey, I'll leave this one up to y'all. I'm not really strong with my Native
I'm
American
good. I'm
tribe.
just talking it out. I don't want to talk you off of it.
Yeah, they don't look Mayan to me at all. And I don't know how to explain it. Like the faces aren't squat enough, especially the woman's face. Because like Mayans have similar faces to like Ecuadorians almost. And it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
It looks far enough to me that it feels like it's just north.
Your Mayan though is
not
not northern Mexico either. You're still kind of looking at the southern.
Mine would be like
Mayan's like
Mexico
Yucatan in that area. Yeah, that's the Mayan area right around there. And the whole Yucatan as well, like way up to the north coast is still Mayan.
Right, yeah.
So we're
I don't want to talk y'all off of it either.
Either this area or this area?
Yeah.
Which one?
I'm gonna say put it right in those four corners.
Okay.
All right, let's see where that goes.
You okay with that, Keith?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm dude. I fucked this up so bad.
Wow.
Ouch. Bad start.
They're
so
Peruvian?
What are we talking about? Peruvian?
That's wild.
I know some Peruvians. They don't look like
disappointed.
That. Yeah. Well, I guess the dark red is like Bolivia, like South Bolivia.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's not an easy one.
Oh, dude. They're giving us all the hard ones now, dude. We are so fucking boned.
Oh, that's tough.
What do we think? Are these Tuareg people or are they...
I'm going to say the nose is kind of wide, so I think maybe sub-Saharan African?
I feel like they're actually Saharan African.
I was about to say, you picked an awfully close to the equator spot for that skin tone.
Yeah, I feel like they're Tuaregs. So
which
that's
would
like
be what, northern?
Yeah, like maybe like Morocco-ish.
I could see that.
Her face, though, doesn't strike me as Moroccan.
I don't know. I wish I... the problem is, like, whenever I Google Berbers, I get, like, two distinct different types of faces. And there's definitely one group that does not look like her at all.
Or are we just way off and these are island people? But they don't strike me as island people.
That's a possibility, too.
They could be island people. It's certainly possible.
It just doesn't...
Well, let's... To break it down racially, this is some pretty curly hair.
Yeah.
So that's going to help the African argument. Or islands adjacent.
Yeah.
I could see Morocco. Could be I could see Madagascar. I was going to say that too. I could see Madagascar. Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, anywhere in that region. It's not horrible. Man, that's a bad split too, because that's 0 points one way or the other.
It is. This is going to be a bad beat, man. I don't think we're going to like this one.
You think they're Mauritanian? Do they look like Atlanteans to you, Matt?
Oh man, I have no idea.
Does he look like Yakub?
Fuck, dude. We came out of the gate swinging last week, just fucking knocking them out of the park.
And now we're just like, oh, we're not racist as we thought we were.
Now we're getting humbled heavy, dude.
All right, well, let's think. If we're thinking either northern or Madagascar down there, what is the other? It's got to be like what, Filipino island type areas, what mixed in with Madagascar to give them that in maybe a little bit of Indian influence as well.
So it was Indonesian
versus more the Spanish. So do you think they look a little more Indonesian or a little more Spanish?
You know what's fucked up too? These could be like southern Sri Lankans, because there were a lot of Spanish that intermixed with the locals there as well. And like looking at their brow ridges, like their brow ridges are the thing that was making me say like it's not like Indonesian island. It's got to be like Tuaregs. But looking at their brow ridges, they could also be like Spanish brow ridges.
I like Sri Lanka.
I don't, man. I kind of do and I don't. I don't know. Like it's one of those things. Like if we put it in Sri Lanka and it's right, let's go, baby.
Big
Let's
points.
go.
Damn.
Mhm. If we put it in Sri Lanka though, and it ends up being in Madagascar, we might still get like some adjacent points. Like I think there's enough
Crossover.
overlap in those groups. We could get like 900 out of it.
Eh.
But if they do end up being like North African, then we're like totally cooked.
Yeah, we're cooked either way. So that
Did
makes
you
it a
still
little more
have any
sympathetic
North
to one of the two
African?
islands.
Do y'all have any other thoughts besides like those three of like dark horse candidates that we're not thinking about?
There, I mean, when you're talking very southern islands off of Asia as well, it entered my mind when you're looking at that Philippines type region. You can get there down there as
Oh.
well.
No, you're right. These actually could be like Tongan faces. Like they're not wide enough to be Tongan, but they could be like adjacent islands like out there.
Right. Yeah, I could see a Philippines or a Malaysia.
But
Else is
they
there?
They're definitely not Filipino though.
they don't have like the right eyes though.
Yeah, and that brow ridge is
For
super
this
heavy.
part.
They've got the dog eyes.
Like I feel like this brow ridge is with this skin color is like Sri Lanka or North Africa. That's like
right.
I'm stuck on those two, but
I
could be
don't
totally
hate
wrong.
Sri Lanka. That does something for me. I could be okay with
Same.
Sri Lanka.
If you click Sri Lanka though, it has to be the southern side, not the northern side of the island.
Good call. That's some strong racism right there.
Oh,
Fuck!
Oh,
Oh,
Damn.
the
the dark horse was right.
Ah, God.
Good
fuck.
Lord, this is a bad start,
Damn.
Royce.
Okay.
We're gonna lose viewers over this.
It's like they're not nearly as racist as I thought they were.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, hey,
I
this
mean,
is
looking at-
easier.
Indian subcontinent,
Or they could be like Pakistan
Or Middle
well.
East.
India,
yeah.
they're in this area.
somewhere
Yeah,
between
agreed.
Saudi Arabia to India.
So, if these were Indian, do we think these are North Indians, perhaps?
They look.
They look
yeah, I
too
was about to say.
clean.
I feel more Indian than Middle
North
Eastern,
Indians
to
are
be
clean.
honest. That gentleman
That's where all the
looks
Sikhs
Indian.
live. Also, if we were to pull up a map of India and where they poop outside the most, I imagine North India would have very few dots on it.
Not to say they don't poop outside anywhere, but
But
hmm.
I like North India.
Yeah, but like we should think about the Middle East a bit more as well, because like these could even be like so they're not going to be like northernistans. So like Pakistan works, southern Afghanistan works. Anywhere higher than that doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
They're probably not Iranian either. They could
No,
be
I don't
Kurds.
think so. I don't know. I'm getting, especially from the gentleman. I'm. India really pops out in my head, and I could almost even go the other direction of a more Oriental influence.
So like
Just
this area,
slightly,
like
like not even out of India, but like maybe to Nepal,
I couldn't.
maybe
though.
to Bangladesh. You don't think so?
Bangladeshis are way darker, and they just have much rounder faces.
You're right. They are very dark, actually.
Like
I actually
like, if
kind
it's-
of like this area.
yeah, like I mean, those faces could be Pakistani. It could be southern Afghani and northern India, and I'm not sure about anywhere else from my like personal racism. And I think
That's
we could
pretty
rule out
bad.
Semites as well, just because those eyebrows are like super soft. They're very
Hmm,
very North Indian eyebrows.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I
Do you
don't-
have any other thoughts? Any dark horses?
I'm okay with I
I'm
like
pretty
this
happy where that
area.
pin's at the moment.
All right.
I don't think I got any.
Sri
What the
Lanka.
fuck?
Oh, come on, Sri
Who are
Lanka.
these Sri Lankans?
You gotta be
Ah!
kidding me.
You're Sri
What?
Lankans? Scroll up a little bit.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Dude,
here
we're
we
blowing
God.
it.
Jesus,
some-
dude.
Baltics over here.
Wait, we got points though, so there's at
Yeah,
least
we got
that.
We
some
did get
points.
some. Jesus
Fuck,
Christ,
dude.
we suck.
Okay,
This
what
is
flavor white people are these?
somewhere? This is I think a little closer to
This is
right. Yeah, that you're
it's in
the
this
area.
area.
there. Could
There's
I could
definitely,
potentially
like, some
even go as far
Turkic.
as Georgia? I could see it being on the other side of the peninsula over there.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think they could be Georgian. That's possible. I don't
Somewhere
think they're
where
Turkic.
white guys grow Muslim beards.
Yeah, and I
I
don't
can
even.
see. I could see it like Armenian, perhaps.
That woman makes me want to
Armenian.
check my pocket
Yeah.
for my wallet. So
Oh, so she's a gypsy.
somewhere
that's
where they have
possible,
gypsies.
too. Okay, so this could be Romania, could be Armenia, could be Georgia. I want to eliminate Greece, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Too tall. The gentleman looks long.
He looks tall? What
Looks
do
like
you
a tall
mean?
man to me.
Oh, tall face. Okay, I get it.
His tall face. He just looks like he might be 6 foot tall, and I don't think you get a lot of 6 foot Greeks.
Is there any chance that these are like Southern Spanish?
Ooh.
Oh, with the Moors, those dirty Muslims and their conquest of the peninsula.
That's possible. That I'm coming back to the noses are giving me a lot of Anatolia vibes.
I don't know though. They don't have Turkish eyebrows.
So then they would, if they aren't Turkish, then they would be.
Yeah, I
more
could
in
rock with
this
Armenia.
area.
I could probably rock with Bulgaria. I don't know what they look like, but
There's definitely brown influence.
You know, I could even jump potentially
Sicily, you
one more lake over there
to Italy.
and get into Turkmenistan even.
Oh, this
Turkmenistan.
direction.
I could go that direction a little bit.
You know, you do have a point. They could very well be like that flavor of Turk. Not too close to Iranian, but like, yeah, it fits.
They're really, they kind of have that I mean, which is kind of what we're doing with Georgia and all that anyway, but that like former Soviet Union meets Middle Eastern genetic profile.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
I feel like we're gonna get cooked though, and they're gonna end up being from Seville or something like that. Like I can
They're
I can
Swedish,
see.
you racist.
These are the new Swedes.
Yeah, this game might get harder in a couple generations.
Oh fuck, dude. Yeah, this is tough. There's a lot of like
Where are
really
you
good
from?
guesses right at the exact same latitude.
yeah.
You know, just right across the board. Turkmenistan, Armenia, Bulgaria,
That
Sicily,
woman-
southern Spain.
That woman definitely has a crucifix, but also cusses like a sailor.
That would mean she's like Kazakh more than anything else. Which okay, it's possible. Maybe like slightly
I mean,
more
that's
north.
Somewhere
that
in
is
here?
yeah.
If you were gonna put her in
I
Kazakhstan,
think that
though,
is-
you'd want to be closer to Almaty. Let me see where that is.
I think
on
that's
map.
the right
Oh, it's
latitude right there. Thinking on the right latitudinal line.
Almaty's over here, though.
Oh, sorry. Let me.
'Cause, I mean, that's getting very Asian.
Yeah, but like
They're-
they don't actually get like visibly Asian.
It can happen, but it's I see what you're saying.
They don't strike me
I-
as like steppe people.
Right. I think I am coming back to Georgia. I don't think there's. I
Hmm.
think there's more of a Slavic influence than an Asian influence.
I feel like we're gonna get cooked. It's gonna be Seville. Like it's just something about that dude. It just feels.
Spanish.
Yeah.
He has Pedro Pascal jaw.
Do we go with the dark horse because our main guesses has not been working so far?
I feel like all my instincts are gonna be wrong today. So I can't help. All I can do is just say things out loud so I can be like, "See, I told you so."
I'm okay with either one. I'll leave the decision up to you, Matthew.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Matt,
goodness,
you
the
do it.
power!
I'll only reserve the right to like edit the position within the country. Huh.
Hey,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well
There we
done.
go.
Well
Oh,
done,
look.
guys.
look, it's exactly where I don't know what it is. I'm really good at finding Georginians for some reason.
Yeah, y'all
Okay.
were totally right on that one.
There we
I'm
go.
glad that my instinct about my instincts being wrong was correct.
Proto-Iranid.
Okay. Now it's your turn to be
I'm going to
racist.
say this is not China.
Thankfully we actually get something on the main African continent for a change.
It always gives
I
me
guess-
trouble with the African one too, because you forget how fucking large that continent is,
Yep.
Right.
and
And,
they all
you
look
know-
alike, which is tough,
The lucky thing for us is the Bantu really spread across most of like Africa south of like the Horn. So I think our real question here is like, are they Nilotic and Ethiopia and Kenya, or are they just kind of south of that Bantu?
Kenya was my initial gut instinct, so I
Yeah, I
don't
can
hate
see
that.
I was gonna say they look like genocidaires. So
Genocidaires.
I was gonna go in this area.
Well,
They
hold
look
on,
like they
Hutu
have-
or Tutsi?
Well, they would definitely be Tutsi because of their broad noses.
Oh man, I wish
They
I
look
was
like
a
their hands
fan
were
of
made
that
for
genocide
machetes.
because I'd be able to pick them out so easily. Just give me one documentary and I can tell the difference.
Can I see number one holding the machete?
Number one,
Ah,
number two.
Number two.
all right, I feel like these are not going to be Bantu.
Which would be where?
So Bantu, like if you zoom back into where you were just looking, do you see that like big lake on the west side of Kenya?
Mhm.
So like Bantu is like west and south of that lake, and like Nilotic is kind of like north-ish and east-ish, except the Horn of Africa has the weird like Somali people.
So are we talking about more over here?
That's possible. Yeah, they could fit there. They could fit in the DRC.
They're not black enough.
Oh, they seem pretty black for me.
They are pretty black to be.
Like I think that's dark enough.
I was
for the
gonna say
equator.
like they're not black enough to come from this part. Like those people are almost purple.
They're dark enough for it too. Like this is a composite, so you even get like the light ones in there. I feel like
Right. Drags
I
it
feel like they
down.
could, but I don't know. There's something about her forehead shape specifically that doesn't make me want to put her up on like Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, etc.
I agree with that. It seems more this direction.
Yeah, it's just tough.
Like go west of that lake. Right about there-ish.
Yeah.
Also, just a little distinction, which is kind of fun. Like a good chunk of Africa is split based on whether they are like what are called malarial African, which means that they I don't know how to explain it. They like cultivated mosquitoes almost to like help them like what's the word? What do you call it when aliens
To
come and
remove
they
the
change
bad
their
blood
hair?
from inside of your body.
There's a word for this. Like terraforming. Essentially, they like use mosquitoes to like terraform swamp areas, which is why like everyone who has sickle cell is like west of this like river and lake where it's like swampy, whereas the east side it's all like plains and mountains, so they end up being slightly different.
Do you recall what the purpose of using the mosquitoes was? Was it to?
It wasn't on
some other form
purpose.
of wildlife?
It was just an accident, just the way they happened to settle land. They ended up. I wish I knew the details now. I'd actually have to look it up, but distinctly they're called
We have
malarial.
defeated your tribe with our infectious bloods.
Have the AIDS.
All right, let me actually look it up.
All right, I'm gonna select this. Is that
hold on,
okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I like
Well,
it.
let's see.
Oh,
Oh my fucking god! Of course, it's the area I said it couldn't be. Jesus
Right
Christ!
out of us.
damn,
All right,
dude,
we
we
got
are
some
just.
points on the board at least. It upped our average.
Okay,
North! Go north!
We know what these are. Obviously,
I'm feeling
it's
Not
gonna
Irish.
be.
Swedish myself.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get Norway,
Danish.
or we're gonna get like England.
You have to think too when you're thinking about the composite. You got that blonde in a composite photo.
Yep.
You ain't looking at mainland.
What about?
Maybe Poland, but they look a little bit thin for Poland.
And
What
we already saw
about-
what like the northern poles.
You know,
look
she has
like.
a very Russian face to me.
Yeah,
West.
but if she's Russian, she's gonna be like a Muscovite, or sorry, not Muscovite. Near like St. Petersburg. So still kind of like Baltic.
So Estonian, maybe.
Possible, but I feel like you really want to put this one in like Norway, Sweden, or like kind of like the east coast of England, like Anglican almost.
Huh.
Yeah, I kind of like the Swedish argument myself. That was at
Yeah,
least
she
my
looks
first
super
inclination.
Swedish.
Like Stockholm area?
No, actually closer to Oslo.
Now we get to see that Matthew doesn't know where Oslo is.
It's right here.
Yeah, Stockholm actually works too as well. That's reasonable.
Split the difference?
I like it.
So if we do split the difference, I don't think it'll matter. I think it'll give us all of Sweden for this.
Probably. It's pretty homogenized. So
Before
like
we
48
do-
living there.
I'm
Before
still
we-
thinking Estonia.
I mean, it's close enough. I mean, it's Hanseatic League, almost, anyways. They're right there, but
But
we
I have,
did
no,
see
I have nothing
what
to argue, though.
we
Why?
did see what the Estonia thing looks like when we got the Poland one.
Oh,
Right.
that's right.
I would. They
Like,
give me
there's a lot
some
of
German
bonding.
vibes too, but I mean we're already in Sweden, so I don't know that there's even going to be.
So are they like closer to Dane? Like, are they?
I don't want to put them Dane either.
Danish. You get a little thick.
Yep,
Danes
that
are
face-
not stealth people. They're big boys.
Both of those faces are long and thin.
Right.
All right.
Like I still
Locking
think
it
it's either
in.
gonna be Sweden or fuck.
Nice.
Fuck. How am I constantly talking us out of the right answer?
No.
I know we.
No, you were right.
I mean we got 47-26.
You were
Yeah,
right.
but you said Estonia, dude. Like Estonia
would have
a
been
perfect 5,000.
exactly correct because it
Perfect
looks like
5,000.
it's the entire country of Estonia. In there.
Yep, perfect 5,000. Man. I
Lithuania.
just, you know when you're off, and today is just an off day for me.
Oh, dude,
Fuck
we're
me.
we're
Fuck
getting
me, dude.
hammered on this one.
I think that one's just Michelle Obama.
Okay, but what about the woman?
Oh, Christ, that was good. Oh, well played.
Shots fired. Shots fired on the podcast.
And again,
Ooh.
I have no idea what to do with these.
I can see
Um,
these guys in the red robes jumping up and down a lot doing that dance.
The
What
red
part of Africa
robes.
is that? Is
No
it the
idea.
Maasai people?
I want to say something that's probably gonna be wrong again. What if
Yeah,
these
this-
are indigenous Australians?
Oh,
I have no idea what they would
we're
look like.
like,
That does look a little bit like huffing paint or huffing gasoline hair on the gentleman.
Yeah, I kind of feel it. It could be
I like it.
New Guinea as well.
I like it. Where's the homeland?
I have
of the
no idea.
Aborigine?
I wish I knew. I have no idea. I assume like the North Coast or somewhere, like close to Guinea, because I don't.
Oh,
Christ, of course,
Hey.
antibiotics. God damn it.
Hey, look, I'm pretty sure that was what I was gearing up at.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, do not listen to me. Like, let me talk, but do not listen to me. Okay, these are Southern Indians.
Indian or Bangladeshi.
They could be Bangladeshi too. That's definitely possible.
Find the equator in the Indian Peninsula and drop a pin.
let's see.
I feel like it should give you a more definite equator on this game, just to.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I don't even know if the
Think
equator
it's
goes
easier.
to India. Actually,
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Is it well south of that?
yeah.
Ecuador. Somewhere in here. So Southern Indian or Bangladesh? We are blowing it. This is rough.
Yeah. I mean, if it
These
was
are
me, I'd go close
these
to
are small
Bangladesh.
people. These are small people, so I think you need to find a jungle.
Aren't Bangladeshi like part Denisovan? Don't they have like a really low average height? Let's look. I'll look it up. I think is it in the spirit of the game if I look at the average height of a Bangladeshi?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not like this photo gives us much. They look
That's
short.
true. They look
but-
small to me.
Holy shit. Oh wait, 5'1". Oh, holy shit. The males are 5'4" on average.
Ooh, they're
God damn.
small.
And I don't know how much of that is malnourishment, but I'm pretty sure they are mixed with
Right.
Denisovan.
Enough is malnourishment.
But also, y'all really shouldn't listen to me today. Like, I can't stress that enough. Don't.
Well, the Bangladesh was my inclination on this one as well.
All right. Boom.
Nailed
Yeah,
that one.
okay.
Bullseye. I
It's
mean,
it's about time that we got one right today. This has been painful.
Yeah, we sniffed that one out.
Thank God.
whew, man.
Oh, we got this one last time. Remember?
Really?
Yeah.
Is
These
it?
were
Do you think it's the same one?
100%. These
It's
were the
somewhere in
ones
South
that-
America then.
I'm pretty sure we put these in like Ecuador, if I remember.
Really?
Yeah, didn't we have one that we put somewhere in like
I know that they definitely are similar to the one that we did last time, and it was
or are these the Bolivians?
They don't have Asian eyes. That's for sure.
Oh, these might be the Northern Bolivians.
I think you're right. I think it's Bolivia.
I don't think they have Asian eyes.
Yeah, see, this is the one downside about this game then, because there's probably just not
Recycles a
enough
little
composites. Yeah, because if you use a composite for the area, then it's always going to be the same composite. I think it'd be
Yeah.
cooler if
Oh.
they just gave us like
Nice.
what do you call it? If they just gave us a random photo of someone who looks like the average of the area,
Ah.
that
All
way
right.
there'd
Well,
just be like
we
a
were
different number.
close.
Well, we got up to a 22.45 average here. We can redeem ourselves with another perfect one.
Ooh, here's a tough one.
Yikes! Spoke too soon.
So we've
I'm
got what
feeling
looks
I'm
like
feeling
Mexican
Asian
Mark
over
Wahlberg.
South American. To be honest, that hair to me gives me some Asian
Huh.
dictator vibe.
Yeah,
So
no,
like
you
some
have a
killing
point.
fields.
Almost, it feels more like it'd be Philippines.
Philippines.
Or maybe
It's
the bridge.
definitely the complexion is just light enough that I think we're getting away. Like there's no Korea, China in this. It's
Yeah,
gotta be
100%.
south of
way
that.
too dark.
You could even get Cambodia in there too.
I was kind of
That's
thinking
I'm
Cambodia.
thinking killing fields.
It's possible. The only issue is like they don't look close enough to Hmong people for me to be like really certain about that. Like I feel like it's going to be more Philippines than Cambodia or Laos. And actually, no, they're too dark for Laos.
Laos gets pretty white again.
Kind of.
I could be okay. Cambodia, Philippines, I feel good about those. I wouldn't be upset about Vietnam either.
Oh, these are not Vietnamese.
No.
Like even South Vietnamese have a totally different admixture.
I'm just gonna Google what Pol Pot looked like.
That was the yeah. I was kind of thinking that in my head.
He was Cambodia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna also look up Pol Pot because I want to see his face.
Oh, I don't know. Not quite. He's not quite Pol Pot.
Yeah, I feel like this is more Philippine than anything else.
So
But
we
like, you want to
thinking-
find like Cebu City, or
Philippines.
like one of the major cities where the Spaniards were.
like right
I don't
here?
know which island that's on.
I found it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be what I feel. But again, my instincts are totally wrong today. So nothing wrong with y'all taking it whichever direction you want.
Cebu
Think about that
City.
face. One more look at Pol Pot.
I mean, the only argument that I would have against it would be this middle island right here.
They just get darker down there, though.
There's a big difference.
There's a weird split. I wish I could remember the name of it. This dude determined that basically all the animals on one side are totally different than all the animals on the other, and it goes right through this island.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Let me see if I
that
can
is
find the line.
interesting. I have definitely heard of that before.
I mean, these people are basically our animals anyway, so
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it applies to the people as well.
it would definitely apply.
the people south of this line have a pouch they carry their young in for the first year of their life.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of this line. It's one of those things you can't look up unless you know the exact name of it already.
They're a little too. I don't know. They seem a smidge too dark to be Filipino, but
That's Filipino skin tone right there, in my opinion.
yeah, but
the
what do you know?
Wallace.
You've been wrong all night.
Yeah, but This one, it's just grabbing me.
It is the Wallace line.
The
Where
Wallace
is
line.
that?
Yeah, let's actually find an image of it.
I got one. All the names of these are not country names, so I don't actually know.
Oh, yeah, no, perfect. It does actually split like right between the Philippines and Borneo.
Oh, so which side are they on?
These people are on the other side of it. So they're completely different from everyone
you think
in
they're
Indonesia.
south of the Philippines then?
No, I
So
feel like they're
north.
Yeah, north and right. So they have to be Philippines in my opinion.
All right, we're going with. You know what? We're going with your guess. Whoa, Cuban.
What?
Oh my fucking god.
Ain't no fucking Cuban.
Sorry, where did it put this? Can you zoom out a second just so I can...
I put it
Oh,
in
they're
Cebu
Seminole?
City.
Yeah, fuck, dude. We cooked.
Wow.
I utterly cooked by that. Yeah.
Yikes. Glad we
Instant
argued for
off.
15 minutes before we were all off by 10,000 miles.
Looked up the Wallace line.
Got so confident.
Holy shit.
Fuck me, dude.
Dude,
Fuck.
that was
Poor show.
Wow.
What was our average score there, dude?
not good.
1,700.
17. Half as good. as
I'm guessing that. That was my estimation. I hadn't.
Let's see. We scored in the top 61%.
Ew, gross.
Average score is 2,000.
Oh,
And this was with the gimme. We got an image that we got last time.
That's right.
So we got a free guess.
So we deserved
Holy
a
shit,
1,700.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we deserved much worse than we got.
Yikes.
Oh
What a
my
negative
goodness.
note to end the podcast on.
Bro, for real.
Damn.
I'm gonna have to
Well-
spend some time looking at phenotypes between now and next week.
Damn. Well, now that we've utterly blown all of our credentials as certified racist, and we've been exposed as hacks, we've been exposed as the Andrew Tates of racism.
Yeah, awful. Awful people, man.
Oh,
Now we're
Well-
bad people.
what are y'all final thoughts?
Well, before we close it out, I do want to share an image of the Wallace line because I thought it was absolutely fascinating.
It
the
is
first
fun
time
to
I
look
saw
at,
it.
yes.
Let's
It is
see.
wild that there's just kind of this. Some of those islands are basically connected too, and it's just like, nope.
Yeah,
This is where
yeah,
the animal life
100%.
changes.
So, even that little spot between the islands of Bali and Lombok, it's completely different species on one side compared to the other. And for whatever reason, the animals just never crossed. And I don't really remember what the reasoning was for why they thought that was. Maybe it has to do with something with the way the plates drifted. Maybe those are two different continental plates. Maybe it's something else. But for whatever reason, it's just a bright dividing line between a whole bunch of species. And it also includes the Philippines as well. So I suspect that there is some significant racial difference between the people in the Philippines and on the island of Borneo. But it didn't play out in our little guessing game here, unfortunately.
Next time.
Maybe.
Next time. We'll know. We'll get
Maybe
we'll
next
get there
time.
next time.
We'll see, man.
That was one of the okay. I was trying to read up why the Wallace line exists, and one of the ones that I thought was reasonably compelling is those are right over some major oceanic shelf drop-offs. So maybe even birds are it's a big fucking hole right there. It's underwater.
Okay, no, that's fair. And temperature changes a lot when ocean depth changes. Even surface temperatures change a decent bit. So it could be that maybe just the temperature stops them from swimming across. They're like, oh, it got cold all of a sudden. We're turning back. We're going home. So maybe something like that. Who knows?
Guess this is the north.
Right? And I guess even with depth, there'd be a pretty significant ocean currents moving through there just because there's no space for it to move. So maybe the current just blocks them. Who knows?
That's why all those kangaroos couldn't swim up there to China.
Yeah, 100%, man.
That's why.
That's why Australia seems like the fucking moon when it comes to species.
That's
wild.
why.
Are we still being racist, or are you even talking about Aborigines?
Both. Yeah, it's always both.
Yes, actually.
Love the above.
Yeah, the thing about being racist, Logan, is I just never stop.
It applies to everything. If you can breathe in oxygen, you're being profiled.
Especially by the size of that nose.
Oh, 100%. I can't turn my brain off. It sees things, even without me knowing.
Here's another world.
I also saw a funny story today about the Olympics in Paris last year. Apparently, the police in France were having an issue with American interactions with pickpockets. And guess what the issue is? Just if you could.
What would beat up pickpocketers?
Yep. We were disproportionately beating up pickpocketers compared to like everybody else who was going there.
You're welcome, France.
Yeah, right.
Fix your fucking social problems over here.
Right.
I'll tell you what, that front desk clerk scoffs at me for trying my French out one more time. I'll slap him in his goddamn mouth too.
You know what it really is? It's the like we're so used to the idea that someone might have a gun here that we're just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You go over there, it's like a PvP zone with just underleveled noobs running around, and we're just like, oh, brother, fist on fist, let's go.
This is pussy country. I know they ain't got weapons here.
They can give their cops guns out here.
I don't know what that had to do with racism, but it popped into my head while we were talking about just being racist. And if we can be racist against the French, which you give them another another millennia, and we will, it's going to start with statements like this right here, man.
A millennia? Brother.
Yeah.
Brother, there are posts in Old School Cool getting taken down on Reddit because the comment section is so toxic about France, and they're like, what's wrong with this photo? Immigrants.
Like, low key though, they really have ruined all of the like big cities in France.
But in all seriousness.
Yeah, Paris is awful. I'd love to go to the south of France or like do a little trip up the Rhine River. I imagine it's still got its like old charm, but you won't catch me in Paris, man.
Paris was horrible. That was 12 years ago. It was dirty. I can only imagine how dirtier it is now.
Yeah. I went like before all of the migrants, and it was nasty. It's probably awful, dude.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, thank you very much for listening to Against the Mob podcast. Jeffrey Epstein obviously did kill himself. Free our girl Ghislaine Maxwell. Get her out of, dude, get her out of custody. Victimless crimes. Why is she in jail? I mean, the government's been lying. It was a false prosecution, a show trial. Free our girl, baby. Like, she needs to be freed. He needs to be exonerated. We were wrong. That's the worst part about this podcast, is having to admit when we were wrong. And this whole time, we've been talking about this big, deep conspiracy cover-up in the global elites. Nope. What you get is what you got. Who would have thought?
Every day that she serves in jail is just proof that we live in a banana republic.
That's right.
Freer.
I was thinking is maybe the funniest outcome is that in order to cover all this up, they do end up exonerating Jeffrey Epstein's name along with Ghislaine Maxwell's, and then Jeffrey Epstein just kind of like shows back up with one of his other passports, and he's like, since you guys are dropping charges.
No double jeopardy, right?
Somehow I picture him with like very obvious still like scars and bruising around the neck. It's like the whoever the hit people are, either like deep state or just other prisoners, and they started to strangle him. And he's like, "Brother, I'm innocent." It's like, "Oh well, fuck, I didn't know that."
Sorry.
He's like, on that note, it's like, "Whoa, what am I doing?"
Just out there, like, we all thought you did it, dude.
I don't really want to talk about the whole story, but I will say the Hill Dog's got a hell of a grip, guys.
Oh man. Truly, we live in a fallen world. Fallen society.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Welcome to the dystopia of the Uniparty. At least we had the charade of hope for 180-something days. And here we are. I'm sure there's some small victories to glean, but once again, welcome back to the suck.
At least the border's closed.
Here, here. And with that being said, we fight against the mob with that goddamn border being closed. We'll see you next week.
It's like the perfect time